Hello. Hello. All right, so we got this together. We're gonna be good. We're a little bit, we're a little bit on the spot. Oh, Pearl wants to jump in. All right, Pearl, you can jump in. Although now we got 5 voices going. So, right? So we got 5 people that will be in the debate. We're going to have to do it very carefully. Now I'm going to introduce each one of these people. I don't really know him that well, but I'll tell you all about what I know about him. So, Five Iron is a lawyer. He actually is pro Second Amendment. However, he supports smart laws, and oddly enough, he supports assault weapon ban. That's gonna be big. Brian, he is an ex. Well, he's a veteran. He's an ex-military, current oil. He's like a fucking oil dude. He does a lot of oil stuff. He just fucking goes out and he's like the regular. Shut up, dude. I'm getting there. This is very disorganized, and I've been up for like 30 hours. So he's a regular Joe version of an oil guy, but actually cool and like has cool, good stuff to say. Matthias Ard is Pete Ard's cousin. He is for no gun control and no laws. Any one law about gun control is too many. Horse Friend is about banning assault weapons. That's his bottom line. Ban assault weapons. And Stimson said he's going to jump in here and there. He is pro gun and pro mental health laws. He likes the mental health laws, and actually, so does Brian. So, let's go to our panel. Panel? Panel? Hey, how are you? You're all live on stream. What's up, guys? I just introduced you to our viewers.
Yo, what's up?
Pearl, real quick. What is your stance so I can get it? A bottom line basic stance.
Panel.
Um, I am pro gun.
What about mental health laws? What about assault weapon ban?
I mean, I reject most mental health registration based on a Fourth Amendment principle, not so much a Second Amendment principle. I don't believe the government should have the right to keep your health records, including mental health.
This is gonna get real interesting with the lawyer hanging around here. So pro gun laws.
Mentally ill people. Don't you believe that mentally ill people should?
Hold on. Hold on. You are so fucking ready to debate. You're so ready, man. You're gonna. I feel like Five Iron is gonna clean up. It's gonna be really interesting.
I think five's on the right track though, because I don't have a ton of time. I'm kind of like I'm at my parents' house. It's like a bunch of people.
Oh, all right. So. All right, cool. So, people can't hear Five. I got you, dude. You turned up. Okay, so Five Iron, let me get right to you because I'm sorry to interrupt you. I just wanted to introduce everyone, to say hello to everyone. I didn't know it was to get some bit of a hurry here. Let's talk about first, because it's obviously a save banning assault weapons for later. Let's talk about mental health laws. Let's talk about the Fourth Amendment. Talk about the legality of putting mental health laws in place. What that would take, and which ones you would actually agree with. So Five Iron, let me go to you. Hello?
No, when it comes to search and seizure, can you hear me?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And seizure, I think that is a very legit way to intrude on people's privacy. The mentally ill can do a lot of damage. That is one exception.
Okay, so
in that sense, me and Pearl are going to disagree.
Well, I'm not sure about that. I don't think mentally ill people should have firearms, but I don't think where we'll probably disagree with is who has the right to declare this, and I mean declare it in a public way, to give out that information. Does the government have the right to? Does the government have the right to, your basic HIPAA records? I don't think they do. I mean, I think that's pretty clear.
So pretend you are a congressman. Guns too.
Sorry, you broke up a little for me. I don't know if everyone else.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's breaking up.
Who would you not give guns to? Pretend you're in the
Well, if you're
legislature.
talking about if we're still on the mental health side, anyone who has been
Pretend
in
everybody's fair game. Pretend you are you have power over everybody. Guns too.
convicted felons, I mean, essentially, who guns aren't allowed uh, to be sold to at this point.
Really
People
quick.
under a certain age, felons. Um, I would probably, I don't have a hang up on anyone who has been committed against their will, and that where your mental health crosses over into the public record in terms of incarceration or anything like that. I don't have a problem with that. And there might be others. I'm drawing a blank, but I think that's about it.
That is a very reasonable view, actually. I think your southern upbringing.
Wait,
Nothing
Five, you
really
broke up
fires
a
up a
little good
debate
again.
like a moderate agreement between two parties. Really know how to spark the fireworks, eh?
I was
Wait
gonna
till I
say
get in there, guys.
really,
Yeah, man.
really quick. Everyone, I'm about to make this. Just I'm talking about like you five. I'm about to make this channel called Stream Communications. That'll be right under this. And if you can please leave your thing on that, so that way I don't have to interrupt, and I can be like, hey, like here's the next question, or this is what we'll do next, that kind of thing.
I
So
would love to hear your view as well. Did you chime in, or
I'm moderating it. I'll give you my
okay,
views at the end though.
It's you and me, 5 iron. Although I might have a different outlook. I don't really. It's not legal based as much as just philosophically based. That sounded so gay when
Or
it came out.
constitutionally based.
Sounded so
Yeah, well,
gay.
I mean, if we want to like broaden it out, like I mean, I believe in like reciprocity of like concealed carry across state lines. I problem with gun proliferation within the United States. I think more guns is better. Like, yeah, I mean, if we want to get into some more like things we might disagree on, like those
Okay,
would be some views.
I got an idea. So, as far as like we started with the mental health laws. You said Pearl. You said ex convict or ex cons. Um, where is Matthias? Talk about mental health laws. Do you stand against them on a legal ground? And what ground is that? And if you don't, you stand against it on a philosophical ground. Talk about that. And after that, horse friend, see if you got a response to his absolutely no mental health laws stance that he will tell us about.
Sure.
Right, and my stance is completely constitutional. I don't believe the government has a right to even do a background check on you if you buy a firearm. That's your Fourth Amendment. You need a warrant to do so, and you shouldn't have to get a warrant if you want to use your Second Amendment right. Plus, if you want to be barred of a firearm, why can you lose a constitutional right if you're not even given the Sixth Amendment constitutional right, which is your day in court in front of a jury? I don't think it should be left up to one guy who may be pro gun, may be anti gun, as some psychologist, doctor, to say, no, I don't like this guy. I don't want him to have a gun. He deserves his day in court. If you believe that he should not have a gun, and if he should not have a gun and he should go to court for a crime, then you put him to jail. He does his time in jail. Once he's out of jail, he has served his sentence. He should be back to have his constitutional rights of being able to own and carry a firearm.
Wow, really? Is that how it used
Yep.
to be? And did it was it like that at one point? Or when I'll have to look that up. I'll look it up for the stream. But horse friend, what do you think about that? Convicts, even if it's like a manslaughter thing. I'm not don't mean to put words in your mouth, but I assume, let's say it was a burglary or robbery. You can still come back and get a gun when you get out of jail and finish the sentence.
No, you shouldn't be able to do that, and I'm gonna tell you why. It just seems common sense to me that you would first of all you have assault weapons, you have any sort, like if you're going to fuck someone up, man, you're not gonna, oh, you can do it with anything, people say. But no, having a gun and having a gun easily accessible, when it comes pressure time, all of a sudden having that gun right there instead of going out and sourcing some illegal gun or whatever, you're just gonna take that fucking thing and hope nobody finds it. It's fucking stupid. I think
I Can I say that I don't think getting mad and shooting people is any relation to common sense? Like,
Yes,
that's
dude. You know how many fucking times I get pissed at someone and I just think like, oh man, if I had a fucking gun, or like they wouldn't be able to say
yeah.
shit to me.
I
Somebody
don't
gets
think
in my
that's a
face.
normal feeling, and I don't think that's
It is a
normal
normal
among
feeling. It's called
That's
firearms.
just a
male
personal
insecurity,
thing.
man. That's male
Yeah, it's more
insecurity.
of a personal
Everybody
thing.
does it. Yeah, exactly. And
I
that
carry a firearm
personal react,
24/7,
yeah,
and I've never wanted to shoot anybody.
but that reaction though, it's
I think I just,
maybe
you
No,
know,
I
maybe
do think
it's
that this is a common dividing line in a mindset of firearms. People who are scared that they're going to kill people, and they kind of project this on to the general public when this is not a normal instinct to have.
Real quick, by the way, I just tagged you all. This is our note channel. I'll write little bookmarks so people don't lose the pace of the conversation, and I'll show you stuff that I'm gonna ask about next in this channel. All right, so
that'd be on that side stream thing.
was that the Lynx one? Was it?
it's called Stream Communications. You see where your name is? It's two channels up from there.
2 channels up from my name.
I'm starting with my dumb emotional arguments. I'll move to my better ones later.
And yes, if you guys want to ask questions, tag me in your message, and then write the question that you want. I'll write it all down on a notepad. Okay. So
You don't. Anyways,
we had a big
have
disagreement
you?
there.
Can we? Yeah, I was just gonna say, can you like? Have you had a reason to use your gun?
Me?
Yes.
Someone mentioned.
I have never had a reason to use a gun. Where I grew up was not a great neighborhood in the northeast. There were home invasions around me. That's when I bought my first gun after a storm that we had, and I never had a need to use it, but I always had something in case I needed to.
Do you think there would have been no other way to defend yourself?
I mean, from what I was told by the home invasion, like the cops about the home invasion, there was multiple people coming in with weapons. I mean, I'm a big dude, but I don't think I could fight 4 dudes with like axes and shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah. No, I feel that. So that's where my argument sort of like bubbles a little bit, because if you're in a scenario like that, let's say you're in some sort of like disaster scenario, your recovery, and like it's lawlessness. See, that's like you'd still defend your fucking house with a pump shotgun, man. Like, see, that's cool, but like if we need to get one of that, you need to be able to know how to fucking use it, man. You shouldn't just be able to be some dickhead that goes out and just buys it because it's his fucking right. Like, that's not good enough, and it's like it's not making people responsible for owning their firearm.
How you
Well,
make people responsible is you teach them. You don't force them into laws. You have a parent teaches their child proper gun safety, proper gun handling. That doesn't that in the 50s, the 40s, 50s, and 60s, we did that in schools, so people would know how to properly hold the gun, how to properly fire a gun, so they don't accidentally shoot their neighbor or something like that. It's something that we've gotten away from in society. Of now, gun is seen as this like evil, dirty thing that only bad guys use in movies, and then the really badass guy fights the really bad guy in the movies and jumps and does backflips when it's really an everyday occurrence. It's a tool, no different than a hammer or a screwdriver. If you don't know how to use a hammer, you're gonna hit your fingers, and if you don't know how to use a screwdriver, you're not gonna be able to screw anything. The same kind of concept in my mind.
a 5 iron. Jump in on that idea that you can get a gun back after doing time for a felony.
I agree with. I don't know if it was that said it, but yeah, people.
Oh, 5 iron, you're dropping out.
Yeah,
Maybe it's
it's like
gotta be
real
closer
quiet
to
on
his
my end too.
Wi-Fi.
It was so good right before we started the stream.
Um,
Yeah,
sometimes if like your phone can go to like a weak Wi-Fi signal instead of being on the data. I don't know. I usually find data works better in my house for this sort of thing.
Hmm.
Can't even hear me right now.
Give him
You
that.
gotta jack your mic like input up to the.
Pearl, while he's fixing it, what do you think about getting guns back after felonies?
Um, I think it depends on the felony. I mean, non-violent felons should probably not lose their gun rights.
Hmm.
I do think the manslaughter thing is interesting because did you plea down from a more serious crime to get your manslaughter charge? Or I don't know. There's a lot of like kind of moving factors in there, but I think
Hmm.
I'm
closer to Matthias on this.
That's
I
interesting.
also think there should be some sort of like prison reform in a sense that if you do a crime, you should do the adequate amount of time before you're released back in society. You paid your debt to society. I know there were some studies in like Tennessee where murderers were doing like an average of 7 years because they were just so overly populated. I think if you commit a crime, you should pay the true penalty. If you kill someone, you took someone's life, your life should be the rest of your life should be sent in prison. If you straight up like first degree murdered, planned out, and killed someone, you took a life, therefore your life should be left in prison.
What do you 5 Iron? What do you think over there? You got to fix.
I would.
Oh,
I would agree with that actually.
sounds better.
You know?
What about who decides? Sorry, the severity of it. Like, there's degrees to it, and murders can be fucking very like. Has every jury been correct all the time? No, they fucking haven't, man. I don't trust
No, they
judge
have not.
or jury
But that's part of the whole. You need 12 people on a jury to convict you. If one person has a shadow of a doubt, it's
opieandanthony.com, and if you're
and 100 evil men free and one good guy free, then have 100 evil men behind bars and one good guy behind bars. It's the whole without a shadow of a doubt kind of thing. So we don't take an innocent person's life because that's like the whole idea is to try to protect innocent good people and protect them from bad people.
yeah, I think that's
It's kind of the basis of Western law.
Yeah, pretty
Basically,
much.
yes.
Didn't really get to hear 5 Iron's stance.
Yeah, give her a whirl there, 5 Iron.
Sorry.
Yeah, I just wanted to hear
How's your mic working?
your stance on convicts getting guns after they are done with a felony crime, even if it's violent.
I don't think that felons should be able to get firearms. No.
Okay. How come?
Because they are not trustworthy in society's eyes. So they should not have the privilege of the Second Amendment.
Are there numbers that can back that up? I mean, like the
Not a privilege.
rates of recidivism or recidivism. Jesus.
There's no
Citizen.
such thing as rights in this
Privilege.
country, man.
But what about a non-violent felony, such as growing marijuana, cultivation,
They should be killed.
sales?
Well, they already have like a drop off period for felonies. Like when you get a felony that's non-violent, it's not a lifetime sentence. So, like a lot of the guys will get a 3-year felony, and then it drops off their record, and they're allowed to purchase a gun, vote again, and all that.
Yeah, and there's some. I can't remember the exact yearage, but on you go, 5 Iron.
Nonviolent felonies. Oh, I'm sorry. Nonviolent felonies. I don't think that they deserve the same level of scrutiny as, say, not the same as growing marijuana in my backyard.
So we have different opinions about that.
I think
s-
the
we're-
general consensus non-violent equals like a you can, and then I know Matthias is way. in the other corner, but
It
think
didn't
that's
even
reasonable.
occur to me until Stimpy brought it up. But
yeah,
these are very different from. I mean, obviously, they're very different from violent felonies.
Right.
But the fact remains, a felony is still a felony on your record, and that does exclude you from owning a firearm.
It shouldn't, but it does.
I mean, yeah, it shouldn't, but not all crimes are are not created the same.
Well, that's why there's classes: Class A felony, B, C, D, E, misdemeanor, so on and so forth.
There are different levels of misdemeanors. Yep.
So I guess that brings us also to like what types of guns should people be able to access? Now, to spin off that question and to intro us into the question of assault weapons, do any of you think, like for example, Matthias, do you think somebody who committed a burglary got the correct sanction amount of time, but they let's say they committed it with an assault weapon? Should they be able to go after finishing everything and buy a new assault weapon?
Well, real quick, Matthias, do you even accept assault weapon categorization?
I do agree with Pearl. It's not an actual category of firearms. It was
Okay.
talking point made by the Bradys and the Bushes. I'm not sorry, the Bushes, the Clintons in the mid to late '80s. It's not an actual definition of firearm. What you were referring to is just a semi-automatic rifle
Okay.
with certain features, quote unquote.
But uh, horse friend, you do support a ban on assault weapons. How would you justify using the categorization?
The categorization would be if you can hold down the fucking trigger and it just fires away, then you can't have her.
Hmm.
Those have been illegal since 1934.
Yeah, full
Yeah,
auto is
those-
not.
I'm going to play devil's advocate here. How is that different from
How is that different from a what? The last word.
Yeah, I didn't hear any of that.
I'll play devil's advocate.
How is that different from a pistol? Because a pistol can be just as deadly.
Five iron, I
Pistols-
cannot hear you at all.
He said
What he
how is it
asked
different
was-
from a pistol?
when a pistol could be just as deadly. Well, the thing is, a pistol could actually be more deadly. Most of the bigger pistol rounds, 500 Smith and Wesson, 50 caliber or bigger.
So was the question, how is a handgun better than a rifle, or I don't understand the question.
Well, sorry, I will.
Not more deadly than
the question is that you supported as like in our intro thing the assault weapons ban.
I'm sorry.
Do I support the assault weapons ban?
No, not you,
Assault
horse
weapons
friend.
ban
All right.
Is how is that different from handguns? Because handguns are just as deadly.
That's an interesting response back to it.
Five iron is saying that handguns are just as deadly as semi-automatic rifles.
Just as easily put a bullet in my brain as a.
Now, how would you come back at that, horse friend?
It's not fucking hard to get one of these weapons and get like a $70 bump kit stock that just fucking it turns into an automatic anyways. These rifles are high magazine. They're just designed for taking. Like, look at it. It looks like something out of. I know you're gonna hate this argument. It looks like something out of the military. It's like, what are you gonna need for that? Like, there's no. I don't. People aren't responsible enough. You see how dumb people are. You've been online. Like, I wouldn't trust those people with those guns, man.
So
Well,
by
for
the
ex-
acts of a few, we'll take out the rights of all.
There are no rights, man. Think about what happened with Japanese
Human rights.
Americans
Oh,
during the
right.
fucking Second World War, man. Like, if rights, you can just
Yeah,
get
and
around
I
that
bet
shit.
if they had guns, that shit would get turned around a little bit different.
Complain about
Well,
your
yeah, I mean,
fucking
if the
rights,
argument
man.
is, fucking just lock, everyone up, everyone lives in a police state, like, I don't know where we go from there, though.
I'm not saying
If
lock everyone
anything,
up,
the
but everyone lives
Japanese
in a police
thing-
state.
Hold on,
If
let's
anything, the Japanese thing is more of a reason to not want the government to decide laws. If the government could just say, "Hey, your eyes are a little slanted. I'm going to put you in a cage for a couple of years," and you want them to be the sole owners of all the badass guns.
now
You want them to
five
get to
iron.
control who can or cannot have guns. They have the right. The same people who have killed people at Ruby Ridge, Waco, Texas, around the country on a regular basis.
Yeah, but there's the
Let's-
trade-off, though, is that are you willing to risk having more gun violence in your community in the period that it isn't like that when tensions aren't high? When you have large-scale domestic issues like this, the people who are suffering are fucking people who are getting caught in crossfires and shit with these guns that we don't even. Some of them are legal, some of them aren't. There's a gray area there for me. I don't fucking know. But at the same time, why wouldn't you just do what you can to at least stymie the fucking flow of weaponry these people have?
I don't see that as a problem. I mean, you could watch 300 videos online of people making homemade guns and killing people. I mean, it's not that controlling what someone uses to hurt people is not going to stop them from wanting to hurt someone. The problem is that we have a bunch of people in this country who want to hurt people, and we should be trying to change the idea behind that. Like in those low income, high crime areas, they do it because there's a lot of drug money there. They can make more money going selling drugs and being part of a gang than getting a job at a factory. Now, if we can work to make factories better, lower taxes, all I think that make a better economy, there'd be less of a desire to go do gangbanger stuff.
Yeah,
Which would then
there's
make crime lower.
not much I see where the logic is in that. I don't totally disagree with that.
Now, Five Iron, you also at the intro did say that you would support this type of ban. From what you've heard so far, do you disagree? Do you agree with any of it? Has your opinion changed listening to it? How about the clarification of the type of weapon classification? Assault weapon. Does that matter to you?
I wish there was some way to. I wish there was some way to classify people.
Oh, trapped out.
There's a way to classify people based on their mental. They deserve as many guns as they want.
You do it by race.
Yeah, that would
Now we're
require
getting some
some
dark area there.
That's yeah, that's some. I'm big time
Pun
on
intended.
privacy.
Um,
So
What about the fact that when the assault weapons ban was in effect during the mid '90s, the murder rate was more than double than it is now? Is that a factor in like wanting? Should that be a factor in wanting the assault weapons ban reinforced?
A friend who just said that if people want to commit crimes, they're going to commit crimes no matter what. People are going to find a way to get their hands on weapons and hurt people with it. Honestly, don't think that the legality of guns is going to or higher the murder rate. I'm probably alone on that.
Well, it's just that. Hang on, I'm about to type to you in that thing, but let me go to.
Wait. You said the illegality isn't going to affect the murder rate?
I don't think the legality or the illegality is really going to affect the murder rate.
Okay, so what's the point of
There's a
enacting it then?
counterintuitive.
Big dropout. Big
Sorry, you're
dropout.
breaking up so bad for me.
Yeah, I'm.
Yeah, I can't hear me either.
Prohibition, the murder rate. If I heard you correctly.
Yeah, Five, you need to turn your mic up, bud.
Yeah, I'm about to show you some solutions here for you because you're just breaking up a lot. So, hold on. But in the meantime, anti mental. Okay, you did anti mental health. Stimp, do you have an opinion on assault weapons? Stimpy.
No, I actually have no opinion on assault weapons. I
Okay.
feel the same way. I I don't I don't feel there is an assault weapon classification. So as far as the whole banning of them, I'm not for it.
Can I go into more of like the definition behind what the quote unquote assault weapon, to more define it for people listening?
Sure.
Actually, I would love to hear.
Well, how the Brady campaign, the Clintons worded it. First, they were trying to call them assault rifles, which is an actual definition of a firearm. It's a fully automatic rifle is the definition of an assault rifle. They got attacked on not attacked, but they got told like, no, you're misnaming this inanimate object. So then they created this term assault weapon, so they can keep the term assault in there to make it sound scary to house moms who are sitting at the house watching TV. And how they define it is a semi-automatic rifle being able to fire from a detachable box magazine and having two or more military style, quote unquote, military style features. Some states have adopted it to one or more or any. And then things that they put on as quote unquote military style features was like a stock that can move back and forth, a pistol grip, a vertical grip, a bayonet lug, threaded barrel, a barrel shroud, which no one knows what the hell that is, a grenade launcher, because those are legal apparently now, which are not, a plethora of just stupid things. And then in states like New York, where they make New York compliant AR-15s, all they do is expand the back of the pistol grip so you can't put your thumb around it and have a permanent fixed stock so it can't move. And they sell the exact same AR-15 that you could buy in any other state in New York. It's just features or just aesthetics about the firearm that is classified as an assault weapon. Therefore, it's not a proper definition.
Ryan, would you agree with that definition?
You agree with it, Five Iron? So then, how would you support the ban on assault weapons?
He's kind of swayed me because
Oh,
yeah, I'm a little swayed personally. I
five. By the way, okay, Five Iron.
fully in support of the Second Amendment, but
But you would actually switch your stance. You're saying? Oh, by the way, so real quick, just so we can keep going and kind of get lost in this topic, because there's some technical issues. Those three things right there, Five. Turn those off. If they're red, go to that red circle, turn it like all the way up, and I'll just turn you down on my own situation. Turn the automatically determined sensitivity, turn that off because that's probably fucking you up, and then just do a low sensitivity. Honestly, you can just go to 0 if you want, and if nothing works as far as those goes, just do that push to talk and use the Alt key because that won't get in the way of anything. So that's
Okay,
interesting.
all I know is that there are a couple motherfuckers at my work that kind of got that active shooter vibe from, and I'm just glad it's not easy for them to fucking just go get something that can mow me the fuck down.
I think a
Wait,
lot
do you
of
mind? Yeah, what state do you live in? If you mind us asking.
I live in I live in Western Canada.
Well, they can go. You can buy
Yeah.
and from what I understand from Canada laws, you can go buy a sawed-off shotgun without really any, whatever it is, like the registered permit or whatever it is. That doesn't count as a was it like a registered
So
gun versus non-registered gun or
I
something like
can
that?
I can try and give a really quick breakdown. There are three. There's unrestricted, restricted, and prohibited. So an unrestricted is just pretty much your shotguns. Can't be above 5 in the mag. Um, that's pretty much it. We can get some pretty gnarly looking guns up here.
Yeah,
Unrestricted.
I've seen a few.
Yeah, they're pretty cool. And restricted is pistols. That's where you have to fill out paperwork going to and from pretty much the gun range to practice
Hmm.
with it. And then you have prohibited, which is just for cops and bank vanguards, which is pretty much a carry license in Canada. And you have to take a course, which is about 2 weeks, where you learn the ins and outs of the firearms. And you have to take an additional course for your hunting license as well. So it's a pretty like bare bones. You get access to all the good stuff up here, but you just don't get any like
You just
crazy ass
you don't have a
fucking.
right to it.
Yeah, you don't have a right to it, and honestly, it works great up here. And it sucks because the only people
I
with
mean,
the
that guy
guns
just
are
did shoot up
criminals.
that
But
restaurant.
um, which restaurant was that?
Or he was shot down the street. I was watching surveillance cameras maybe a week and a half ago. Took out a handgun, so just letting loose
Yeah,
on
there's
people.
a rash of gun violence right now in Toronto.
Sounds like those gun laws work pretty well.
No, they're not perfect, but
But as you
it's
said,
not
there's
really a big
from what
gun
I
culture
understand
here.
is yeah. What from what I understand with the law on shotguns in Canada is there's no barrel length requirement as long as it's like overall longer than 26 inches or whatever the overall length. But you can have a sawed-off shot. To us, it would be a sawed-off shotgun. To you guys, it would just be a short-barreled shotgun. But the different laws that we have.
I
But I
think
mean,
there
there's
is
been
a
multiple
longer
mass shootings.
barrel length than that.
I think from what it's like an overall. Like I saw someone who was like maybe like a 12-inch barrel on one of the YouTube videos I watched about a Canadian dude with a gun. But
Yeah.
it does even if it's a long shotgun. I mean, there's been multiple mass shootings in America done by shotguns. There was one in a school in Texas where a guy used a 38 special revolver and a pump shotgun. The one that I think was Fort Hood, where that dude ran in with a pump shotgun, started whacking out military dudes. I mean, the type of firearm may make it less deadly, but doesn't mean it won't be deadly. So someone could still get one of those unrestricted firearms and start hurting people.
Sure, and what like if you loosened it and just said like fuck it, it's not working, get rid of the whole thing, won't it just make it even easier for people who are almost at that threshold already but never quite get there? What
It would
happens
also
to
make
those
it
people?
easier for it would also make it easier for people who would like to conceal carry, who would like to own firearms for self-defense, to be able to afford to have the actual firearms for self-defense. The way law, one of the things I don't like about gun laws is it pushes it to a higher economic status to be able to own guns. Like if they add, like I've heard people say, like a DMV for guns, the cost already to own a gun is very high. I mean, you're looking at, if you're buying a Glock, it's $500. You're buying a holster, it's $100. You're buying ammo, it's $20. I mean, you buy it in the state I'm in, it's about $200 for a carry permit. Before you know it, you're looking at $900. I mean, the single mom who works nights and college during the day who just wants to defend herself and her kid can't afford that.
That's
So I think
emotional too.
adding all these laws is just hurting poor people more than anything else. And they always restrict it, like how we have a kind of regulated guns, which is the National Firearms Act, which is machine guns, short barrel rifles, and silencers. It's really just for more wealthy people. You need to have thousands of dollars if you want a machine gun. And I think the cheapest machine gun I've ever seen for sale was $17,000. I mean, it's legal. It's making it that only rich people can have guns. The more laws and more, like in like New York State, where it's like $600 permit just to buy a handgun. Many people don't have $600 to put out, especially on a piece of paper. It's pushing it that poor people can't arm themselves and defend themselves.
Okay, Pearl, I haven't heard you in a little while. What do you think of this topic? Which side are you supporting?
Oh, I'm for gun proliferation and for guns in general.
Woo!
Um,
I'm gonna add something to that for hood shooting too. I mean, they have strict registration requirements for personally owned firearms. And when these guys were shot up by Nadal Hassan, they were in the processing center for their deployment, which they're not allowed to bring their firearms in there. So a lot of times it's just these people search out these gun-free zones because they know they've got easy targets.
Ryan, did you hear
on that side.
that dude's definition about what consists of an assault rifle? Do you agree with that?
It's such a vague term. Yeah, I mean, basically it comes down to aesthetics, and it's a semi-automatic, but
No, assault rifle, not assault weapon.
oh, assault
rifles, yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, no, I agreed with what he was saying with the assault rifle. Like he had a good definition for that, but assault weapon,
Excellent definition.
That is, I do want to not use the term assault weapon. I just thought it would just have a nice effect in this because you guys are American and I hear it a lot.
Mm-hmm. Well, you're misusing proper pronouns for semi-automatic rifles by calling them assault weapons. I think that's illegal in Canada.
Yeah, I don't know. Liberals control the language and then you control the thinking.
Let's see here. What do you think there is about 2018 and modern times? What are some of the factors in the modern world that has increased the need so much for gun laws? And not so much like okay, there's no more frontier wilderness or whatever, but other things, international issues, cultures clash.
See, I mean, I kind of, not to be a dick, just reject the premise. I mean, I think as time has gone on, as violent crime statistics have plummeted in America and pretty much anywhere where guns are proliferated within the Western world, that every bit of data we have says that we don't need more gun laws than ever, and we have less violent crime than ever. That is a factor which I can't ignore to the point where I would say, oh, we have a need for gun laws, even with an explosion of a lunatic, 1 in 400 million people who does something every, I don't know, however many fucking days you want to count it. I think these are fucking blips on the radar, as horrible as they are, and I don't think they speak to the overall fucking health of gun ownership.
Yep. And a lot of what they term as quote unquote mass shootings aren't, most people wouldn't consider a mass shooting. I mean some of the numbers they put out would be like gang related shootouts. That's not a mass shooting. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think the cutoff for a mass shooting is 3 or more.
Yeah, 3 or more indiscriminately, but they would use it like, oh, that's this other gang, I gotta shoot them. They're targeting a certain gang. Mass shooters are just, I'm gonna go and play to kill as many people as possible. And there was also I can't remember. I think it was every town for gun safety put up a thing that there was like, in whatever February was, there was like 93 school shootings, but then it came out that like some of them were like some cop accidentally shot his gun while he was showing kids what to do. Another guy was in a gang related shootout next to the school. One guy
So
shot
wait,
himself while
if
while the class wasn't going. Stuff like that, and they kind of just twisted the whole the whole thing to make it sound like there's so many mass shootings and school shootings. We have to ban guns when it's not as true as they like to say it is.
if more people have guns, won't more people have their guns stolen?
Dude, there's a lot of guns
Stands
in
to-
America, bro.
I mean, it stands to reason, but I don't
There's a
think
lot
you
of guns
get
in
rid of
America, bro.
things because thieves exist.
Yeah, man, but thieving's a mental health. No, I don't know.
I mean, here's something
I'm
that's
just
here's
trying
something
for
that's
anything.
related. What happens when you're crazy now? Where do you go? I mean, there's a real fucking elephant in the room that is both the left and the right in America got together and said we're going to get rid of all mental health facilities and we're going to put people on pills, and then the public is at the mercy of crazy people doing what's right within their home. And this is a tough issue for me because I don't want the government just fucking catching people with a butterfly net and throwing them in the back of a white van, but at the same time where we live in a place where we don't have insane asylums. You pretty much got your 5150 in a hospital or jail facility. Then you're fucking back out. Every one of these people has been certifiable. They've all been fucking nuts. And nothing happens other than, hey, take your suicide murder pills, please. So I think that's a real fucking thing. And I don't see any way to fix it because the left in the country wanted to paint these facilities back in the 80s and 70s as horrible prisons that were mean, or people were going there because they were liberals, man. And the right in America didn't want to pay for it, viewed it as a form of welfare and move it over to the private system. So essentially only really rich people get to go to club fucking med when they're nuts.
Yeah, I abstain because I agree. So
Now, what about the? Okay, let me see who's one of the gun control advocates. So horse friend is, and
this is hard, man.
okay, 5 Iron. What would you say when you said that there should be smart laws and some of them should be, like taken seriously and regulated, and people might lose some of their guns or they won't be able to buy new ones? What do you say about the fact that there's been 27% more casualties from 2009 to 2015 in the United States, Germany. I'm sorry, dude. I fucked up. I'll put it on the screen too. 27% more casualties from 2009 to 2015 per mass shooting incident in the European Union than the US. So when a mass shooting goes down, on average, 27% more casualties occur in Europe. You think that's a
That's why I'm kind of torn because there doesn't seem to be a high correlation between the availability of guns and the incidences of mass shooting.
Andy, you think this is kind of a dumb little kid question, but I mean we've seen mass shootings be stopped. There was one in Texas. The guy went into the church and he someone shot him. The neighbor shot him. Yeah, there's been other ones too.
Man.
Yeah, and in Europe, there's really no ability for that. Somebody just starts firing on the street, you better run. Like, even the cop doesn't have freaking guns. It's absurd.
Yeah, they're gonna run up and hit him with a billy club.
Yeah, I mean that.
Boy,
that
mate, you got a
the hell
permit
out
for
of
that
me.
gun?
Like, why? Why should who should have guns? It's fucking the police officers. But in England, all they have is a fucking billy club. I don't know who just said that, but billy club. I think if anybody should have weapons, it is the police officers.
but the police patrol and protect the same streets that you live on. So the bad people that they need guns are walking around the same streets that you're walking around. Why don't you have the right to defend yourself and have a firearm?
Yeah. What is really the risk of cops shooting you, though?
I mean, that's always going to be a risk.
You
Anybody
really
with a
need to-
gun
you really
could
need to defend
accidentally or
yourself
purposely
from
pull the trigger.
police.
But 5-Iron, do you believe in like concealed carry?
I really believe in concealed carry. I think you should have that right, personally. I mean, I've personally never needed to defend myself using firearms, but it should exist. But that's partly because of where I grew up, too.
Should
Yeah,
there
you-
be
where you
reciprocity
grew up.
across lines?
There should be no permit for carrying a gun.
Reciprocity, that's a tough one, man. Because where I live, I don't really need guns, but at the same time, I don't think people who want to carry them should be denied that right. But at the same time, the point of concealed carry, to be honest.
Self-defense.
Fuck
What
that.
uses a gun what uses a gun if you're gonna have to conceal it though?
What do you mean?
Fuck the last
You
fucking
you
person,
can
man.
take Anthony Cumia for example. He cannot show his guns carrying a gun.
Well, I carry a concealed firearm. With every 24/7, there's a gun within my reach. I conceal carry every day. I can draw my concealed carry firearm as fast as I could draw it from like a outside the waistband, like what a cop would wear. All it is just a T-shirt flopped over it, and it's inside your waistband. If there's a difference, it's a fraction of a second. You could use this. It's not like it has to be like taken apart, left in a backpack. It's loaded on your hip, just with your shirt covering it.
No, what he's talking about is the differences in New York. If Anthony displays his firearm, concealed carry or not, it would be considered brandishing, and that's a Class A felony.
That's exactly
that's
what I
the
meant.
same law that's down here where I live. But as long as it stays concealed, you're good. And my state has like a thing where it's like if you accidentally do it, they're okay with it, but it'd be at the cop's discretion for you to get in trouble or not.
Yeah,
But
New York is zero tolerance.
Yeah, New York is fucking ruined. It's only going further away from being a good state.
Who the last fucking person I want having a gun is some insecure fucking nerd who can't handle fucking escalation, has no confrontation skills. That's the last person I want with a fucking handgun of any kind.
That's why you should parent your kids properly.
Would you extend that to knives?
No, because nerds are frail, so you can just overpower them.
Just pick them up and throw them.
Yeah, exactly.
What do you say about the
I used to
fact?
carry a knife when I was in. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
What do you say about the fact that the U.S. gun homicide rate is 12 times that of Italy, Canada, 30 times that of Great Britain, France? What do you say to that?
Homicide rate or gun homicide rate?
Gun homicide.
Well, yeah. I mean, it stands with the
It's
reason.
pretty much obvious.
Yeah, you can break that down by demographics though, and you'll find your answer.
I mean, you could look at Australia, who did the gun buyback, and though they had a drop in their homicide rate after, they actually had a spike a little bit after the buyback, and then it proceeded to basically drop about the same rate as the United States dropped over the same period of time. But I mean, people are still killing people in Australia at a rate that they would probably like to get down. They just don't do it with guns.
Now, here's the thing, Brian. You said demographics, okay, but that doesn't really make that much of a difference. I mean, you can say like Bill is. I know it's Bill. He's stealing all the apple pies off Grandma's windowsill.
Fuck Bill.
He still lives in your neighborhood, and he's still stealing your pies. So like, still, what do? You have to manage these people somehow. What are you gonna do?
Just roll up on him with
Yeah,
your.
well, the answer
45?
isn't to take pie away from everybody. Bill's going to still steal somehow. There's going to be a black market for him. So building laws based off of the lowest common denominator never works.
Can we say for the people who are in favor of some form of gun control what they want is? Because especially with where I live, I can operate within the status quo. It's only a few states because of how well the gun issue has gone for people on my side over the past 15 years that, I'm pretty comfortable with it. There's more freedoms I would like, and I see them actually as a possibility with the way that state legislatures are set up throughout the country. But what do people who want the gun control, what are they looking to take away?
Yeah, what is a smart gun control law? 5 Iron and horses. No, yeah, horses and Stimson. What's a mental health law? Just give me an example of one that you would like in place that's not in place.
A mental health law.
So I was writing a sample legislation, and I think that you should. It's almost like getting a recommendation for a job. Speaks louder, in my opinion, than somebody you know. So you should have to have uh, uh, some of your friends or family. If they can vouch for your mental stability, then by all means have a gun.
I view that as full repeal of the Second Amendment.
I would just back up that argument a little bit by saying that there should be. Fuck, that's a tough one. You know what? I'm pro not taking track of your mental health data. I mean, we just have to do a better job with mental health, not keep track of the people who are a victim to a shitty system.
5. I say that because if it's not full repeal of the Second Amendment, are there any other rights within the Bill of Rights that you would need a voucher for?
Well, see, here's the thing that people don't understand about the Second Amendment. It is not an absolute right.
Yes, it is.
The Constitution doesn't mean that it is an absolute right. A lot of people who haven't gone to law school, they don't understand that.
You're gonna need to explain this, though. You can't.
No, I mean, just because there is a right in the amendment in the Constitution, it doesn't mean that absolute right. You are not granted the full right.
Have they amended the Constitution?
Yeah, I took like a couple of breaks, like
not a lot, and never
an hour, 2 hour, no, an hour, half hour, bunch of like 20-minute breaks. But fuck yeah, I've been
pretending like that's actual law and actual legality.
3 hours and
cannot
just
be infringed.
supposed to interview this guy
Understand
about
what I'm trying to say.
Crazy shit. I don't know.
I do not, and I'm gonna need to.
I gotta turn a light on.
I disagree with it.
This is about to get interesting right here, though. So the Constitution is not a right.
Yeah, I was always under the assumption it was the supreme law of the land, and that you could interpret it differently. But
let's look this up.
It is not an absolute right, though. It is not. Just do whatever you want, and that's what a lot of people don't understand. So there should be limits on it.
No, there shouldn't.
Let's see.
Never going to see eye to eye.
Well, I mean, probably because Matthias might even disagree with the constitutionality of the 1930s law and ruling on that law in terms of outlawing full auto. Do you?
I personally believe every single law or regulation on any sort of firearm is completely unconstitutional and illegal and wrong. I should be able to go to any gun store right now and buy a machine gun. I have that personal right.
Yeah, I view it as unconstitutional too, and would look to overturn it.
According to, let's see here. Let me read through this article, but from what he's talking about, Supreme Court does not grant an unlimited right to own guns on the Second Amendment. Let's just read through some of these.
Heller?
Yeah, I don't know. So
District of Columbia versus Hillary. Yeah.
yeah, if you okay, so something versus District of Columbia, okay, versus Heller. So what do you think about that? Let's see real quick. Go to the SciTube. Let's put a very short
I agree
video
with
on
that.
about it.
Okay, hold on.
Let's see. Here we go. 5-minute video about it. Kind of interesting.
Yeah, it's a little hard being not an American, but
Right.
you have to.
Well, that's
you'll
the
have to,
evergreen
Oh,
statement.
there it is. All right.
You have to permit me.
Here we go. I'll put it in our
Skins.
stream communications. Go.
Hoping to reduce violent crime in the city, the Washington, D.C. City Council passed the Firearms Control Regulations Act of 1975, which effectively banned individual gun ownership in the district. The act generally prohibited D.C. residents from possessing handguns, but made some exceptions for police officers and security guards.
Let me know when the video
The
is up.
act
I can't
also
watch it.
prohibited residents
Yeah, I'm
from
watching it
keeping
right now.
firearms in their homes without licenses, and required that any licensed firearm kept in the home either be unloaded and disassembled or fitted with a trigger lock. Dick Heller worked as a special police officer in Washington, D.C. As part of his employment, he was allowed to carry a handgun while at work. Wanting to keep a handgun in his home after hours, he applied for a license to do so. The District of Columbia denied Heller's application. Heller sued the District of Columbia for violating his Second Amendment rights. Based on its reading, the District Court found that the Second Amendment does not create an individual right to gun ownership unrelated to service in an organized militia, such as the National Guard.
That's
And
kind of
thus the
scary.
District Court dismissed Heller's complaint.
That's kind of a
The Court of
misinterpretation of what a
Appeals found that
militia
the
is. A
Second
militia is
Amendment
just the military of the people.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. And once the Supreme Court rules, like, look at the abortion case. And I'm not saying I support this, but this precedent right here is all they need. This is all they need. A 5. Well,
Well,
we
it
could
doesn't
get
make it legal. It just means they made a law on it, if that makes sense.
right, but don't Supreme Court rulings sort of determine the law? Isn't it like writing a law?
It's how the Supreme Court interprets, quote unquote, interprets the law. So if they're biased towards one way or another, the law will just be biased towards one way or another. But when I go back to the Second Amendment, says shall not be infringed. You cannot make any rules or regulations on it. And if you want to say, oh, it just means militia, the definition of a militia is a group of people with no government or no army background. I mean, everyone is technically in the militia. And I think in Oklahoma, any person over the age of 18 is part of the Oklahoma militia.
Let's finish this up and see if it addresses that too.
Does create an individual right
That
to
is
gun
an excellent
ownership
question, by the way.
and reverse the lower court's
The
decision.
way the Supreme Court interprets law is to it.
Damn, dude, 5 iron. Do you think you could just use push to talk?
Oh shit!
I know it's probably gonna be annoying to use push to talk, but the drop offs, we lose like a crucial part of what you're saying, and then you come back and you're like, and 97, and we're like, oh no, like what led up to 97?
What led up to it?
Right.
Yeah,
And that's how I impregnated a horse.
Canadian.
What happened?
I was fucking washing the dishes.
Hey man, what's going on with this fucking court, fucking book learning bullshit ass video, man? Making me do all this reading and
What?
and shit. You trying to put me to sleep, dog?
Explain why the First Amendment would have any restrictions, but the Second Amendment would not. Well, that's also the
You just
scary
be up for
thing.
interpretation.
I think
Whoever has some sort of false, whatever quote unquote power and authority over you wants to believe is what you want to believe. I think it's inhumane.
I believe what happened here is they kind of like manipulated the writing, the way it's worded in the Second Amendment with the militia part to say that it's not an individual right.
Yeah, even though the second half says the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you don't look at it as a constitutional right, let's say, I mean, I do, but some people say the Constitution is whatever. If anything, it's the right of self-defense is a human right. I mean, humans have thumbs and brains to craft and make things.
Yeah,
This
but
is how our species has
12 gauge is
survived. I
good
mean,
enough for that.
well, it doesn't matter what's good enough. There's different roles for different guns. Each gun is a tool used for a different thing for a different way. Yeah, 12 gauge might work great for you, but if you put a 12 gauge in the hand of a 18-year-old 120-pound girl, she's going flying across the room. That's why the AR-15 is so good at at home defense, because basically you, your wife, even a teenage child can use it effectively. That's whatever size
That's
mag
why
you
we
have.
got a
Standard
20 gauge
magazine is
shotgun.
30.
20 gauge of
20
girls
gauge
can use
shotgun
like
is
that.
still pretty mean.
It's
I
fucking.
mean, like I said, if you're
You
or like
one-hand it.
someone who's like a midget or something is like, can they stand that? That's what an AR-15 works really well for it for multiple reasons. Like I was saying, because you have more rounds. There may be more than 2 people coming in your home, and you might have to fight multiple people. I think the average is like 4 or 5 in this country of people who break in your homes. Then most of them, if they're the smart ones, they bring guns themselves. So if they have a handgun with 10 rounds in it, so now there's 4 of them. That's 40 rounds coming your way. You should be able to have 30 rounds, if not more, on your hand. Plus, in like a ballistics, how the ballistics work, shotgun, even if you use like a buckshot, which is what people use for self-defense, buckshot goes through more sheetrock walls than handguns. And the AR-15, most of them shoot a 5.56 round, which actually breaks up
United
in
States Supreme
walls
Court.
much faster. So it's actually safer to use an AR-15 for home
If you get
defense.
hit with getting hit with a shotgun pellet is not, after it goes through a wall is not the same as getting hit with a 5.56 round.
Let's
Yeah, it's actually worse.
let's
Getting hit with
watch
a buckshot
this.
is actually worse than a 5.56.
I guess this video is important to finish it. And by the way, 5 Iron, please tell me that you mean seconds, not minutes. Because man, you've been in the court system a long time. If you're about to take a 30-minute break,
30-minute beer break.
right? What if he's just going out to the bar?
To keep this buzz going. Yep.
All right, there we
Yeah,
go.
you better, dog. What the heck?
Oh god,
You
I
leave
gotta,
me out.
I gotta take a second. So, I'll play the rest of this video, and we can get this full thing determined. Because honestly, this is bad for gun rights advocates. If this is like a thing that can be used the same way abortion is, this is not good news. Let's see this.
Court granted
My
certiorari.
God, that would make such an excellent
The issue
discussion,
on
wouldn't it?
appeal was whether
Yeah.
the D.C. law prohibiting the possession of handguns in the district or usable firearms in the home
This
violated
would
the
also
Second
go
Amendment to
against
the
the
United
10th
States
Amendment. But we'll
Constitution.
keep that for seconds.
In a narrow 5-4
Good counter argument, and I'll write that down. We'll talk about that after.
decision, the Supreme Court held that the District of Columbia's law restricting Heller's ability to possess a firearm and altogether prohibiting Heller from keeping a handgun in his home violated his Second Amendment rights. Justice Scalia, writing for the majority, said that the Second Amendment protected Heller's right to possess a firearm, even if such possession was unconnected with service in a militia. Scalia engaged in a deep textual analysis and concluded that the Second Amendment's reference to the need for a well-ordered militia was only an introductory clause indicating the amendment's purpose, but that it did not limit the right to bear arms guaranteed in the amendment's operative clause. Further, Scalia concluded that there was nothing in the legislative history of the Constitution, nor state constitutions enacted around the same time, nor writings by contemporary scholars, nor even the antecedent English history, showing that the Founding Fathers intended to limit gun ownership solely for militia purposes. The majority did allow that states must be free to regulate who can own firearms in order to address certain safety concerns. For example, a state may restrict convicted felons and the mentally ill from gun ownership. However, because Heller did not fall into one of these narrow categories of gun owners who may threaten public safety, the court found the District of Columbia's prohibition on gun ownership to be overly broad and deemed it unconstitutional. Justice Stevens dissented, relying on the court's decision in United States v. Miller. In that case, the court held that it was unlawful for 2 men to possess a sawed-off shotgun because their reasons for doing so bore no relationship to the purpose of preserving a well regulated militia. Stevens alleged that neither the text of the amendment nor the debates surrounding its passage indicated an interest in limiting the legislature's ability to regulate the private civilian uses of firearms. Rather, Stevens explained that the individual
still there?
right to keep and bear arms
Yeah, I'm still there.
was designed to be solely
Sorry,
for the
I got so
purpose
much
of
shit going
preserving
on
a
here.
well-regulated militia. Because Heller sought to own a handgun for self-defense, and not as a member of a militia, Stevens contended that the District of Columbia may restrict such ownership without infringing.
Moving on. Name the first.
Now, I came up with something new. We're going to do the comment
Dude,
challenge.
god
And
damn
things of
it,
that nature.
dude.
Your comment has to be closed.
Did I just fucking... Dude,
That's
god
hilarious.
damn it, man. I was trying to delete all those so it didn't start playing it.
Oh,
Hold
you
on.
fucked up, dog.
Fuck.
Wow.
Thank God. Hold on, guys. Holy
Oh, man.
Hoping
God
to reduce
damn it.
violent crime in the city, the
Put that
Washington,
part
D.C.
out.
City Council passed
Man,
the
I stepped
Firearms
away. What's
Control
going on the
Regulations
stream?
Act of
Hold on, I can't hear you,
1975.
but I think... Okay, so... We gotta debate around
Yo,
here,
man,
right?
that playlist was
All right,
whack,
I'll be
dude.
right back.
Solely for militia purposes.
God damn it.
The majority did allow that states must be free to regulate
Yo, man,
who can own firearms in order to address certain safety concerns.
Probably
It
about here.
explained that the
Okay, be right
individual
back.
right to keep and bear
Or the end of
arms
this video.
was
It's common
designed
sense,
to be
dude.
solely
Ban
for
everything.
the purpose of preserving a well-regulated militia. Because Heller sought to own a handgun for self-defense, and not as a member of a militia, Stevens contended that the District of Columbia may restrict such ownership without infringing on Heller's Second Amendment rights. In his dissent, Justice Breyer asserted that the District of Columbia's law did not violate
Pearl,
Heller's
let me
Second
ask you if
Amendment
you
rights,
are. Do you
because
support
the
any
Second
of the
Amendment's
National Firearms
protection of
Act,
the
like
right to bear arms
suppressors,
is
short-barreled
not
rifles,
absolute,
short-barreled
and is
shotguns,
subject
machine
to
guns?
reasonable
Do you think they should
restrictions.
all be completely open
Breyer
to
explained
public, or do you
that the
think there
court
should be
must
some
balance the
scrutiny on that?
burden a law may place on an
Yeah, I'm
individual's
not
right to bear
for. I
arms.
can't
With the
think
importance
of
the state's
any
interest in doing so,
restrictions I am
Breyer
actively
concluded that the
for
District
in
of
terms
Columbia's
of
law
firearms or
unreasonably
accessories.
interfere with Heller's right of self-defense.
That's
Because
my
its
man. I
purpose
like
was
you.
to combat the presence of handguns in high-crime urban areas, and that interest was important enough to justify the restrictions. District of Columbia versus Heller was the first Supreme Court case
Like I
to
said, I
explore
think
the meaning of the
my
Second
only
Amendment. Since United States
my only
versus
thing is
Miller
going to
in
be
1939.
incarcerated mentally ill people.
Heller set the stage for the 2010 case of McDonald versus
and,
Chicago,
and I like I
in which
in
the Supreme
principle,
Court
not in principle.
expressly held that the
In
Second
theory,
Amendment was incorporated against the
I
state.
support not giving people with
If you found this
a whole
video
litany of
helpful,
mental
you
illness
can explore all
firearms,
of our
but
content by visiting
I
us at quimby.com.
I
If you have a question
where
or
that
comment about this case,
butts
please post
into
it in the comments
video
section
practicality.
below,
I just
and we'll
don't
do our
see it.
best to get back to you.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely need mental institutions back. I think you touched on that earlier. And it should be same thing with prisons. If you go to these facilities after you've been charged and had your day in court in front of 12, your 12 peers for a jury, and if they say you are not fit to be in public, then you go into these you either go to prison or you go into the mental institution. And when you are released, you're released because you are now quote unquote fixed. You have served your debt to society. You have become sane, and that's when you can leave. And then once you're left, supposedly you already did your debt to society. Supposedly you're already mentally fit again, whatever that would mean. Well, you should be able to be back to having all your constitutional rights. They shouldn't be stripped from you because you had to do some time somewhere.
At what point do we bring up the FBI crime table 43 and get all racial?
I mean I mean, we can get there. We can go there if you want to get there, kind of thing.
I thought we were doing closing statements. Since our fucking lawyer doesn't have a mic and I have no skin in the game.
Yeah, I was really hoping the lawyer would be more active.
Yeah, that's a shame. Well, I give it my best shot, boy. Well, it's hard because I never understood what it was like to have an open gun culture like that. This is what I know. It's not a big culture here. Not a lot of people talk about it. and it's not even like like even when our federal elections come out, like people don't really give a shit, and I think we're all the better for it.
Canada's gun culture is not so unlike ours in
It's
terms
very rural.
outside of the inner city.
Yeah, but like in the cities, it's like you don't really citizens aren't really interested in having them.
I'm sure some are, but like most of them aren't really there. They don't feel a way about it. I
In the
mean, here
rural
like there is
areas,
a
like it's fun.
yeah, in America there is like definitely a big gun culture, but it's almost like when you go out in public and go to work, you're not like you just start talking to the person next to you about guns. Most people like me myself when I go to work, I don't just go up to random people talk about guns. That's something you don't want to do because some people feel, oh my god, he owns guns, he's a Nazi, and
Well,
then you
even
get all kinds of
online
bullshit from that.
in like Canadian like subreddits or like different news pages or whatever, I've noticed general not much activity.
Not
There's
not much caring.
I
yeah,
have not researched Canada's like how many guns they have and everything and forever. I do remember that horrible Bowling for Columbine movie where the whole premise of the fucking movie was Canada like has more guns than America per person. They have more guns than people in Canada, but they don't shoot each other. What's wrong with America? Was like the whole premise. Is that not true anymore?
yeah. There's not a lot of guns. Like it. When you get to like everyone knows when they're in like kind of a more chill city and then they're in a bit more of a redneck rural city. The rural cities, yeah, there are a couple gun stores here and there, but it's not really talked about much. I mean, the gun people they're happy with the amount of guns they have access to, and they have their own clubs and their terms. They have a great, very responsible scene here, especially with hunting. Um, I think maybe that's partly a saving grace is because when you grow up here, hunting is so much a part of the culture that it's modest and it's really nice, man.
I've always thought Canada was pretty beautiful, and if they were cooler with guns, maybe it'd be another place for me to live one time in life. But
But
I
people don't
I like
stick their
guns too
chest
much.
out and get a big guns boner like they like. It's just not. I don't know. It's not really part of the. Yeah.
No, I mean I don't stick my chest out and get a big gun boner, but guns are pretty awesome. I think.
All I'm saying is if you were born and raised here, you may be into guns, but you wouldn't be into guns as much as you are. So it is
Yeah,
a
but
cultural
yeah,
influence at the end of the
availability
day.
too of guns. Like you said, there's certain guns you can't have. I mean, in America, America has Hollywood is here, so I mean all these gun movies constantly see machine guns back and forth, good guy, bad guy. I mean, it kind of I'm
We
sure
get we
in
get
a
Hollywood
way
here too,
place.
though.
Yeah, I know, but like it's an America thing as Hollywood, if that makes
Yeah.
sense. Like it's always the movie's always set in America. They're always set in New York City, Los Angeles, with these big shootouts. It's kind of like there's a culture in that sense of the firearms industry, and there's also the culture as you can go into a gun shop here at 18 and buy an AR-15. Like you can see all these badass guns on the wall. I mean, like if you grew up with not seeing them, you wouldn't see a need or see a desire for them. But if you grow up seeing them, it's like, wow, those are pretty cool. I could see a use for that. Then you have the desire to not want to lose that right to the gun. But if I grew up and I never saw that thing, I wouldn't even think twice about it.
Yeah. That's my stance. Is uh I love being Canadian and I love visiting the U.S. for its gun laws. Like it's fun to visit and do it, but I wouldn't want to live around all the time.
This is tough if Five's not in on this debate, this question. But I mean, did we want to talk about why we have the Second Amendment, what it's for?
Yeah, absolutely. Like we need the basis.
Hmm. No, I get it because you're saying that that's how you overthrow like the man or whatever, and I would say that any good or legitimate overthrow would come from economic freedom or a proper representation in government, which I think everyone can agree doesn't really exist.
No, guns are for getting laid.
And sorry, Adam, you have to be more specific.
I mean, I don't view tanks and drones as a big threat to the general population of America, even in insurgency. I mean, at a certain point, I mean, if you're looking, you know, to kill your population in that fashion, then the insurrection kind of already won. Like America's done at that point anyway. So it would only be about how it would be reformed. I actually am very populist is fucking right to up if it so choose. And
we could do it.
Yeah, and I mean, furthermore, it's like, what would America be if that happened to begin with? And gotta have another point. Hold on.
Well, what direction do you think the military would lean? For God's sakes,
Well, that's the other thing too.
You know,
Plus,
if we ever had to use the Second Amendment in that manner, I think it would be more for another government coming in, or like maybe sending the UN in to do something. It would not be against our own government or our own military. They'd back us.
Well, I mean, furthermore, the American government is pretty nasty around the world, and I kind of can't imagine how bad it could be if there wasn't the threat from.
If you want to overthrow, you gotta have the military. You gotta take out the military or have them on your side, man.
Well, no, the military are definitely on our side. I mean, they brought up tanks and drones and stuff. You think the government officials know how to drive a tank? No, the tank dude in the military knows how to drive a tank, and he's not going to bomb his own people. He's going to be on our side. The police are going to be on our side. All these.
I'm actually a little more worried about the police than the military.
I think the police will follow the law, follow what they're told to an extent. I mean, most of the police I've met and talked to were pretty pro-gun and wouldn't, but that's just what they say. If it says, "Hey, you have to take this guy's gun away," they're probably gonna do it. But to an extent where it's like, "All right, take his gun, but also shoot him in the back of the head," I don't think that's going down.
I just think police forces in the cities where, I don't know, pro-gun people would protest or anything like that, and even like federal police, U.S. Marshals, these, you know, ATF, these fucking assholes, FBI, they just
fuck the ATF.
Yeah, they seem way more likely to kill people.
Well, I mean, they have. I mean, look at Ruby Ridge. I mean, they sniped a woman in the back of the head holding a baby. I mean, you're definitely gonna have shitty dudes, but I think the majority of, you know, 75% of the people in law enforcement and military side with us, we're still amazing. You know, we're still very much better off. I mean, if you there was a statistic I saw that there's like 10 times as many hunters in America as there are people in our military, and not everyone who owns a gun hunts. I mean, the majority of people who own guns don't hunt. I mean, if you have just our population alone is a complete higher, bigger, stronger army than our own military, and 75% of our military is, at least 75% of the military is going to be on our side. I mean, we're not a force to be fucked with in that sense. We will, without a doubt, we would take control of whatever we wanted to take control of.
So in that, well, this is I'm gonna put my tinfoil hat on here. I want the government to listen, man. Fucking scared, dude. Don't talk about it.
I'm Alex Jones.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen, they're putting suppository satellites in your rectum.
In that
just to
scenario,
listen to you.
let's say so the government or like the military stepped in, and let's say that the top of the command structure was like in turmoil. Would it come down to the general's prerogative on each like area of, let's say, of controlling unrest? Like, who would be
I don't know how that works.
Who would be the autonomous authority there? Yeah.
I don't know idea. I don't know how the authority chain works in the military.
Yeah.
I assume it would just be whoever's the highest dude, not in turmoil.
Yeah, I mean, we have a commander in chief, if that's what you're asking. I mean, that's the other factor. Who's in office? What's their leaning?
Yeah, but they might be able to put some laws out, but that doesn't mean people will follow them. I mean, weed's illegal, and how many people smoke weed a day? You know what I'm saying?
No.
There's something written on a paper like that.
I meant in terms of actual like chain of command.
Word up. Say it in a British accent. That would really incite these Americans. Oi, you got a permit for that cell phone?
I have to get going here pretty quick.
P.S. Morgan here.
Is 5 still around? I don't know. I just
He's
haven't
still
heard
there.
of
He's
it.
just muted.
I think yeah, he went away. Went out to get a beer. Yeah, man, we need somebody to replace him and me. I got.
Yeah,
I got to run.
we
here
gotta
pretty
find some
quick.
anti-gunner.
Yeah, man. It's
That
hard.
brought me
I'm not
into a
even
heated
really
gun debate,
anti-gun.
and there was no heat.
I was the only fire here, boy.
Nice.
Dude, should I just start arguing with Matthias?
Go for it.
Hate the gun cuck. Just like say all the shit they do.
Who cares about guns? Ah! It's all about crypto, man. That's how we're gonna overthrow.
We need common sense laws.
No, man, we don't need any laws. We need
Done
3D
no
printed
laws,
guns.
bro.
We need 3D printed guns, and everyone's wallet is their
I
phone.
want one so bad.
Isn't it funny how the branding common sense, like you every side should do that on every issue.
Yeah,
we need
all need
common sense tax reform.
We need
I
common
like
sense,
common
less
sense.
gun laws.
They look kind of shitty.
I doubt the fucking 3D print is a tough one either. Matthias, you want to handle it in fucking one sentence?
Yeah, it's completely easy. If you have a right to own a gun any other time, what's the difference from making it your own versus buying it? There's no fucking difference. Just that 3D printed guns don't work very long. They get a few rounds through them before they warp in a way that make them completely useless.
Dude, we start letting millionaires print 3D guns. Next thing you know.
Do I agree? There's no federal registration on firearms. Well, I assume what you're referring to is like a serial number, which I also don't agree with. I do not think there should be any serial numbers on firearms past like the actual factory making the guns wanting to keep keep control of. All right, this gun came from this batch. If there's any problems in this batch, we know to have a recall on that. But I don't think there should be any way for any government official at any level to be able to look at a serial number of a firearm and have any connection with a person.
Yeah, I believe someone like a violent felon making a 3D gun is clearly it's like them sharpening a knife, and if they use it for any purpose, obviously they violated multiple laws. So it's like outside of that, how do you fucking stop someone who owns a 3D printer?
You got to wait till he does a crime and put him in jail.
Yeah,
for
exactly.
As long as he sees fit. As long as 12 people see fit.
It's the only practical thing that could happen.
Yeah, because legally you already can make your own firearms, and if they don't have serial numbers, the law is like you can build it for yourself, but once you die, they have to be given away. You can't sell them to anybody with an unless you have an FFL license. Then you have to put a serial number on it, and for 25 years, what is it? If you're a FFL, you have to keep on record who you sold that gun to with the serial number that you sold the person to. For 25 years, if your company goes down or whatever happens, you mail those files to the ATF, and they keep it for 25 years. So, I mean, in a sense, there's already somewhat of a registration. They could look up any serial number and see who was the person who bought it, who before it went to like private sales, who was the last person to have it. That's how they if they find a gun at a crime scene. That's usually how they try to find the gun. I think that's wrong.
Let me phrase it to you this way: is there any weapon that should be not allowed for an American citizen to own?
Absolutely not. There should be guns that I should be able to legally own. I should be able to, like we were saying earlier, I should be able to go buy a machine gun right now over the counter for some cash without a background check.
Like, and what about like a fucking rocket launcher?
I think that'd be pretty awesome, but I mean, they'd be kind of stupid to be mutual destruction. I mean, if you shoot a rocket launcher in your home, you're dying too. I mean, I think that's just preposterous idea. A lot of guys use that as like an anti. Oh, so you think people should have nukes? No, because then everyone in your section's dying. If you shoot a rocket, everyone around you is dying. I think that's a different thing compared
Oh
to
fuck,
just
dude.
arms that we're talking about.
But they
Yeah.
should be. But like, you do think they should be allowed though?
Was
Well, they
muted.
also would cost fucking $13,000. It'd be the same as people who have legally transferable machine guns, which is just the super rich.
Can you guys come into SciTube really quick? I want to put a video on. I want to put some stuff on this, like, all right, here's some. We're gonna stump the gun rights advocates, guys, and I'll pause it whenever you guys want to talk, and you can just like destroy the video, or you can be like, I don't know how to beat that one.
Drop it in.
All I'm seeing is a Red Lobster Friday beetle.
Yeah, can you
Yeah, drop it in the main chat.
in Discord?
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. All right, I got it.
Hey, I'm going to switch to my cell phone. Pull me right back when I'm in the lobby.
All right, you got it. Actually, you know what, Pearl? Hold on. I'm gonna put you on streamer role. You'll just be able to come in.
Sorry.
Okay, so we're gonna pull this up. Oh, get on screen here. Get everything set back up. I guess we're gonna continue for a little bit. I don't know if I'm gonna keep going live after that, but I'm supposed to do something at midnight with clickbait, the user clickbait. Talk about Saiyans Entertainment and all the people he fights and fucking shit they're getting into, and Unbleached, who I've known for a long time, and Jimmer Nam, who I think is live right now. I got stuff to say on these guys, but to be honest, I feel like any little thing that they take offense to, they're gonna think that I want to jump into this war, and I don't think this war, like, for at least Jimmer Nam, Saiyans, I think it's good. And Unbleached, I really don't know. But, like, besides video games and stuff, for this war, I don't think it's ever going to end for some of them. There's nothing left.
There's a war going on?
Yeah, they're doing, like, they just, every single night they just get on and dox another one of their friends, or, like, shit talk somebody for hours, or try to get each other's streams banned. I'm like, dude, what happened to...
Competitive socializing.
It's sort of like it's like battle streams, you know, like battle bots. It's like battle streams, but
It's interesting, man. All these little networks of people developing, eh?
yeah, I mean, I think it's cool to do that every now and then. I think it's pretty cool and like entertaining for people, but every single night, where is it gonna go? What's the end game? As Anthony Cumia would say, what's the end game here? Screen. Pearl, are you there?
No, man, he had to pop out and go on his cell phone. Remember?
Oh, Pearl, you couldn't just get back in? Pearl?
Every time I try to watch the video, it just pauses and resets the beginning.
I know. We're about to start it. That's because I have the sync master thingy.
Oh, my bad.
Okay, guys. Pearl, I think I set you so you can just get back in if it happens again, but it's all good. Here we go. Let's see what you guys have to say about these gun control arguments. Strap in. This is fucking Gerard Dennis here right now.
Hi, Jared Dennis here. Welcome to episode 9 from the Success Council. I know a lot of people got very fired up over our last episode.
Yeah, that SciTube link real quick.
We exposed the sinister outcomes of the GM bailout. Then we revealed how
Zanuck. Stream communications, there it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ready?
Yeah.
I'm ready.
5 Iron, are you still
ready,
here,
Ma.
buddy? You gone, 5 Iron, or are you still here?
Hey, yo, you're gonna make me learn and shit? Again?
More school and shit, bro.
No, I'm gonna challenge you. This guy's gonna try to stump your ass, and you gotta see what you can handle him.
Successcouncil.com? Oh my god.
Let's do it.
and further added that his plan, if reelected, was to spread the communist philosophy throughout all industry. If
Man,
you
it's
have
like
not
90
seen
degrees
it, it
here
is a
today.
must-watch.
Oh,
Today,
fuck.
we'll be talking about an equally hot topic.
Fucking 9:30.
the issue of gun control.
At
And
night.
almost certainly you'll have an opinion
Hot as
on
fuck
this.
down here,
What
too,
are the
bro.
facts? Here are the arguments
For August too, that's a little wild.
Start with the
This
argument
guy couldn't
for
be
gun
bothered
control.
to change
Here's
the
what I
default
found.
font on
It's
his
about the
fucking
weapons,
video
the
making
guns.
software.
Where did the killer
Ah,
get them?
Windows Movie Maker Classic.
Oh my
It is
God.
simply
Okay, here. All right. So I kind of missed the intro. So let's get this intro. Here we go. I got to probably turn it up a little bit. There we go.
Start with the argument for gun control. Here's what I found.
It's about the weapons, the guns. Where did the killer get them?
They're shocked at how easy it is to purchase a gun.
It is simply too easy to obtain a firearm.
More guns, very simply, lead to more violence.
Yeah, that's literally not
actually
true.
believe fighting gun crimes with guns are the solution, you're highly mistaken.
A quick
Maybe
fact
we should wonder
during
why we
Obama's,
have one of the highest crime rates from all the
his
modernized
8 years
nations.
of presidency, there was over 300 million background checks filled out, and there's only 320 million people in America.
Dude, this is just gonna. This is
that
just.
would disprove that whole idea.
This is gonna be pro gun video. God damn it. Anti-gun video is what we need. How?
This is a pro gun video.
Yeah. For some reason, this is like I don't know what happened. All I can find is pro gun stuff.
But that's what I'm saying though. Like, if gun control came into effect, that love for gun, it was just something else would just make you fall in love with. So just what it would.
I mean,
interest would
that's not.
wander.
I don't think so. In fact, I think a lot of the gun proliferation was a fucking snapback from the 90s. And I mean, like, I'm all for it. But yeah, I think it actually, I mean, gun shows and all that shit, that's born out of them fucking with the gun rights.
Yeah, I can see that. There's a backlash towards everyone being, every action has an equal and opposite reaction. You go super anti-gun, you're only going to get hit with super pro-gun stuff.
Try to type in best arguments against the Second Amendment and see
They
how
don't
many
make arguments, man. I mean, it's going to be appealed to emotion.
It really is. Holy shit. Holy shit. No wonder they're always doing these. No, Alex Jones, he's onto something.
I mean, the arguments are going to be, what, you don't care about kids?
It's the
You want
most
kids
effective
dead?
argument.
I want universal background checks on all firearm sales. How do you do that? I just want universal. Well, how? I don't know how.
Yeah, people aren't dispassionate, man. That's why everyone's so fucking like super passionate now, and they're all dumb.
Yeah, this is amazing.
Idiots.
And you know for a fact, like, if Google could find an amazing video about Second Amendment stinks, they could find that video.
Yeah.
It'd be at the fucking top. But
yeah, it's all going to be stuff like every 6 seconds a baby blows his head off accidentally.
Why restrict
a
good gun?
random live effect. In Arkansas, the governor said every baby should be strapped with a .357 Magnum.
I mean, the left in America is in a weird spot because they want guns gone, but they can't talk about the bulk of the gun crime because it happens in cities that have been left wing for, basically since the fucking Civil War. And,
hear me put in the thing. The left, like even like your people who would quote as anti-gun politicians, aren't really anti-gun. They're anti-you owning a gun. They still have armed security guards. They still have Secret Service. They still have all these armed people around them to protect them. They just don't think you should have a gun.
Yeah.
I mean, if they did go like, oh, we're gonna confiscate all guns, you're gonna send some dudes to my house with no guns to try to steal my guns. That's not gonna work out for you. You're gonna send dudes with guns to steal my guns. So they're in no way anti-gun. They're just anti-you own a gun while they hoard the firearms.
Did you see that exchange with what's his name, Beto O'Rourke? With fucking, your name's Robert and you're a white dude from Texas and I'm going by Beto. But anyway, fucking like he had the exchange with this guy who's like, we're not giving up our guns, and he's like, you will, and he's like, come take it from me. He's like, we will. I mean, it was like 2 days ago, like at a town hall.
I didn't see that. No.
Yeah, these things are bad with these people. It's
that
not
came from the NRA. Take it from my cold dead hands, whatever that old dude was. We held up a musket.
Charlton Heston.
Yep, there you go.
Damn you, dirty blacks.
You dirty minorities.
Hey, do you guys think there should be mandatory military service?
That's an interesting question. Um, I feel kind of like an I feel like I'm an asshole if I say yes to that and the fact that I didn't do service, but I think in my gut the right answer is yes, and it'd be such a better country.
You're better than I am. I don't give a shit that I didn't do it, and I still want to say yes.
Really?
Yeah, I don't.
I mean,
I'm
that's like the
unapologetic. I don't give a
Switzerland
fuck.
idea. That's
And
I
Israel,
believe that's how the Swiss
I think
do it.
Korea as well does it.
I think it would have saved a lot of people from slipping through the cracks. Obviously, plenty of them still would, but
It would definitely tighten up America. I mean, it would. Those people who are nervous, insecure people would definitely help them.
I tend to disagree. I mean, not to fucking tighten down my tinfoil hat here, but I think all you would see is even more American intervention across the world.
Ah,
I disagree.
Shit,
I don't think
yeah.
anybody should be. I don't think anybody should be forced to do anything if they don't want. That kind of goes against the whole purpose of a free country. But I mean, there are countries like Switzerland that you do 2 years of military training. You don't actually go out and do any, real stuff. You're just training, and then you leave. You just have to go through a training process, and then they give you the machine gun that you had, and you have to keep it forever.
Yeah, in my adulthood, I don't really view the American military as much more than. I mean, at a certain point, it kind of devolves into you're just John McCain, George Bush, Barack Obama's puppets, and it's like, what do they do? I mean, they knocked over 7 countries with fucking barely any troops.
I still think it's like kind of badass, and I think it helps you as on a personal level for doing it. But yeah, I know exactly what you mean. But I don't want to like say that in this way where it feels like I'm like patronizing them, like, oh, those poor souls. It's like I get it. I get why they did it, and
There's conscription.
No, yeah, I'm not viewing it as the soldiers. I'm just viewing it as recent
Like a
and how
reserve
much
force or
fucking
whatever.
money.
Yeah, I mean, they could bring back that old thing of like you're 16, 17, 18, you get busted for a crime. Instead of going to jail, you could join the military. I mean, I think that would help out a lot of troubled youth as like a correct, how to beat them into shape without actually beating them, if you know what I mean. But not in no way you should be forced to do anything in this country.
No,
It's supposed to be a
they'll
free
actually teach you.
country.
well, you can also not just be forced, but you can do the civil service, like just be mandatory with something. Here, I found a video, but by the way, his name's Robert Reich. 5 points to counter the NRA propaganda.
I hate this midget fucking.
No, that's why I never watched it.
Never seen him.
Are you guys
Robert
NRA
Reich,
members?
literal midget Jew.
We'll wrap it up in.
Are any of you guys NRA members?
No, you?
Yes, I've had been my whole life.
Good.
Lifetime member.
I'm not a huge. I'm a lifetime member myself. I'm not a huge supporter in them. I mean, if you look throughout the history at like some of our biggest gun laws, like the '86, when they banned importations, when they started doing the quote unquote assault weapon attack with the assault weapons ban, and hell, even go back to 1969 when they implemented background checks. Those were all NRA sponsored bills. Like the NRA like helped them do those things. So I mean, the NRA has helped us a lot protecting our freedoms, but they also have caved and gave away some of our freedoms at the same time.
Their adjacent politicians are pretty fucking obnoxious too. Very.
I do support.
It's kind of a cut neocon fucking outfit.
Yeah, I do support them because I mean they are definitely the biggest, most powerful pro-gun lobby there is. There's no one even close in second place. But also, I mean, there is a hierarchy that you can become the president of the NRA. I mean, like you could take Wayne LaPierre's spot. In the 70s, they did have like a little thing where they kind of made it really hard to get involved in like the hierarchy of the NRA, but they still have a way that you can get in there and change. Like they could have a president, their lawyers, the high end, the high end dudes to actually fight more and push for more gun rights. I mean, that's one thing I do hit Donald Trump on. I mean, I like a lot of things he does, but one thing I hit him on that I think he's bad at is protecting gun rights. I mean, he talked about banning bump stocks and doing whatever assault weapons ban with Feinstein there. And then also, I mean, he talked about national reciprocity. Where is that? He talked about the Hearing Protection Act, taking silencers off NFA. What happened to that? There's been no move the other way as program. There just hasn't been an attack on us, if that makes sense.
I get what you're saying, but I think they were just throwing a bone to the other side because you can use a fucking belt loop in your finger to be a bump stock.
Well, also with him, wait and see what actually happens because
yeah, no, I mean he still has 2 more years. Actually, he has 6 more years. There's no way he's not getting reelected. That's just.
Are we still live? Did I even fucking? I've listened.
Hey,
chat.
I'm gonna
I've slacked
drop out
on
and
you.
eat. I'm just gonna mute. I'm not gonna even leave the thing. I'm just gonna mute real quick.
Okay, but if you if you like see something on this video and you're like, oh my god, I gotta diffuse this one, then feel free to jump in. I'm just gonna play this video.
This fucking Robert Reich is a real pile of shit.
I've never heard of him, but we're about to find out. You might see me
Just
get
Google him. He's like Danny DeVito with a beard.
That's funny. I feel
Um,
like if I was debating him, I'd just make fun of him and not talk about anything.
I actually like Robert Reich.
So yeah,
Is
yeah.
that name Echo?
Robert Third Reich?
You like him? I never seen him.
You know, 3 Reichs and you're out.
I'm gonna Google him right now. I'm
3
gonna refer
Reichs
to
and
him
you're
as,
out.
Robert Third Reich.
I don't know about the gun stuff, but I like some of his economic stuff.
Oh, all right. Let's play it. I got a question, an interesting question for you afterwards.
Something, wasn't he?
I'm sorry, wasn't.
Yeah, Robert Reich was Bill Clinton's Secretary of State, wasn't he?
Yeah, it sounds familiar like
Secretary
that.
of Labor. That's what it says on.
Yeah, Secretary of Labor.
Wikipedias.
Yeah.
The next time you hear someone
That
repeating
guy.
pro-gun NRA propaganda, you can respond with these 5 points. Number 1, gun laws save lives.
Because of
Consider the
copyright,
federal
I'm gonna put
assault
the
weapons
thing
ban.
off the screen.
After it became law in 1994,
Put it back on
gun
occasion.
massacres, defined as instances of gun violence in which 6 or more people were shot and killed, fell by 37%. The number of people dying from mass shootings.
So
fell
the
by
classic
43%.
Australian weapons ban statistic change. The classic.
Well, I mean, under the assault weapons ban, you had Virginia Tech. You had what was the other one? Virginia
Columbine,
Tech,
Arkansas.
Columbine. Yeah, I mean, there was. I mean, they put this big thing like, oh, it helped. When if you look at CDC, I believe under Obama, CDC did a analysis on it, and they said that like gun laws don't actually have a 1-to-1 effect on gun violence and the overall mass shooting, mass murders, mass killings, and really violence in general has been on a stagnant decrease since like the 40s till today. I mean, they kind of proved that yes, there was less crime, but there's actually less crime now after that bill is sunsetted.
There was an explosion of crime in the early to mid 90s in terms of
Yeah,
violent
it'd go
crime.
like
there's a camel hump on the graph.
Yeah, but it continued to basically go down no matter what law was put in place.
Well, I mean, so here he has listed gun massacres. I don't even know what that is. I literally don't know. I've never seen that as a classification. Mass shooting deaths.
Mass shootings have been on a decline. They've just been more politicized.
Yeah, and it's minus 43% in 94. Here's the interesting thing during the gun ban. There was Columbine, Virginia Tech, all of that. There was also going postal in the 90s. It was a term because postal workers would fucking come in with a gun and blow everyone away in the goddamn post
Even before
office.
it too.
Like mass shootings were a thing.
Yep.
Yeah, and I mean they also talk like, oh, this assault weapon banned assault weapons. You could still buy an AR-15. You just had to have those quote unquote featureless rifles. So you couldn't. All it is a fixed stock, which most people, when they have adjustable stocks, put it to where they like it and leave it there. So it doesn't really mean anything. They just couldn't wrap their thumb around the pistol grip. It had to be on the side. That was literally, it's the exact same gun. It doesn't ban these guns. It just makes them look a little different. And that goes back to they didn't go after an actual classification of firearms. They created a new classification of firearm based upon what they thought was scary looking.
Yeah, they went so far as like no handle on the upper receiver, and that was supposedly.
They said there's a funny video. I believe it's Dianne Feinstein where the guy's like asking him the things, and it was like, "There's no barrel shrouds." He's like, "What is a barrel shroud?" And she kept saying, "You don't need it. You don't need it." And then eventually he had it broke down to say for her, Dianne Feinstein, to say, "I don't know what a barrel shroud is," which most people I don't fucking understand. I don't even know what that fucking thing is.
Don't you think that
I think they're trying to say flash suppressor, but well,
they said no muzzle devices and no threaded barrels, and then no barrel shrouds. It's like a separate thing. But that goes back to people who are making these gun laws literally have no idea how guns work. They don't understand the simplicity in the actions. They don't understand the difference. Basically, an AR-15 is the exact same thing as a handgun. They shoot a bigger bullet. They operate the exact same way. You pull the trigger. There's a magazine that holds bullets. You put it in the gun. You pull the you put one in the chamber. You pull the trigger. One bullet comes out. No more bullets come out. You let go of the trigger. You pull it again, and another bullet comes out. They operate exactly the same way. Just one has a bigger bullet, and you can put your shoulder on it. That's literally the only difference.
Now, here's the thing. It is the job of people in charge to reduce crime. Now, maybe crime is on a decline. Like you said, it keeps going down and down. So we're getting to that point where it's like, where can we make the finishing touches? So it's proven now from like this statistic that you do reduce gun crime specifically, which means there has got to be a good, decent amount of crimes where somebody was going to kill someone with a gun, but then they didn't have a gun because guns are now like impossible to find, but they're just not going to go try to kill that person with a knife. It was just like one of those fucking like heat of the moment things where they were like, I'm going to go kill that motherfucker. But because there's no gun, so essentially,
Are you referring to under the assault ban?
Yeah, like I'm saying, like, what if in the U.S. they did this? So you are essentially still decreasing the amount of crime total within that little Venn diagram of people who don't care to go stab somebody 47 times. That they were just going to kill them with a knife, but they didn't. Or a gun, but they
Look
couldn't.
at the number of crimes that are prevented by guns. The CDC did another study that said anywhere from, I think it's either 200,000 to 3 million or 300,000 to 2 million violent crimes are stopped each year with the use of a firearm.
Discounting. That probably counts in police ones, right?
They probably do, yes. But if the cops don't have guns, I mean, that would be
True.
what the Europe standard is. Also, one of the biggest statistics that I like really harp on when I talk to anti-gunners is the FBI came out with a statistic that when women are attacked by rapists, 49.5% of the time they are raped. But when that woman is carrying a firearm, that number goes down to 0.09%.
Hold on, let's see here. Yeah, but how many of those crimes that are avoided from like having a gun are other gun crimes? You know what I mean? Like he's about to pull out a gun, then he shot first. How many of those? So you kind of like cancel out
Well,
the.
yeah, I'm sure there are some of those, but I mean, even then, I mean, if you make guns illegal, like if like in a perfect world you made all guns illegal, and you went to like a European standard. I mean, there's still shootings and bad guys with guns in Europe. I mean, it doesn't stop bad guys from getting guns if you make guns illegal. I mean, by nature, criminals break laws. Why wouldn't they continue to break laws?
border with a third world country, which is a fucking elephant in the room.
If you guys are gonna give
Yeah, I mean
broads
that's. I
pistols
mean
to carry
I mean
around
the amount
town.
of money and guns and drugs that go back and forth between that border. I mean there's no way. There's literally no way to make this perfect society that people talk about with guns. That like anybody with a gun has to be vetted and perfectly background checked, and as criminals don't have guns because we don't allow to have guns. All that. It's literally impossible.
You'd really have to do.
It happens here in Canada.
People should run a computer
There's no
program
crime in
for
Canada.
this.
There's no gun crime in Canada. There's no bad guys who get guns. I just watched a video of a guy shooting up a some sort of restaurant business the other day in Toronto with a handgun. I mean, it doesn't stop them.
Canada's a big place. Where I'm at, it's not like that as much.
Well, Mexico has strict gun control too. Look what happens down there.
Gangsters
Where I'm at, I mean, it's a very low crime area too. I mean, the crime isn't committed by inanimate objects. The crime is committed by individuals. If you live in an area with a bunch of good people, not in an inner city, not around poverty-ridden people, usually there's not a lot of crime. And if I watched another statistic that it was like if you take the states, the cities in America with the most crime, the 5 biggest cities out, we were like almost last on the list of gun crimes. Like if you took all those cities
don't
out
do it racially.
Well, I mean, it's not even a racial thing. It's
no. I'm saying
poverty.
if you If you do it racially, like America is one of the safest Western countries to live in. Period. like if you break it down along racial lines.
I mean, it is always one of those things where you're just like, well, just let you know. But in the end, it doesn't matter that much. Somebody could still walk across the bridge in Chicago and like kill your dad who's working at the convenience store.
What is undersold in America is the violence in totality. When it comes to talk about, like, it is elevated in terms of beating fatalities and uh, using blunt weapons. It's elevated in terms of car crashes. It's another violent statistic.
Yeah, if you want
America
to go
is
into
a
other
violent
inanimate objects, yeah.
Let's hear
I mean,
another
if it's about
argument from
saving
Reich.
lives and protecting people, I mean, cars kill, what is it, like 300,000 people a year or something like that are killed in car accidents or getting ran over. I mean, why don't we start just banning cars that go over 45 miles an hour?
It's not the same.
I mean, like cars are designed to like get you places, but guns are designed to like shoot fucking metal so fast it can rip through somebody's organs.
I mean, like a 9mm is 115 grains of lead going 1,200 feet per second compared to a $5,000 hunk of metal going 60 miles an hour. I mean, there's not a big difference. I mean, there's a difference in like the actual inanimate object, but there's no difference in what it can do. It's a hunk of inanimate object flying through the land,
Yeah,
flying through the air.
they'll get biased just on saying the practicality of a car. But no, my point in bringing it up was that America is a risk-elevated society, and that so this, fucking snap your fingers, get rid of the guns. America's fucking less violent. I don't see it because of how elevated the violence is across the board.
Yeah, let's see some more.
And if anything, if they actually try to they might be able to try to ban guns from sale from now on. But if they ever tried to do some sort of mandatory buyback or any kind of I'm going to go to a home and take AR-15s from people, most people would give them up. I mean, there's a lot of crazy motherfuckers down south that are going to start shooting at people. It's going to start a small civil war. There's going to be a lot more death because of them going after guns than there are actually gun deaths now.
You're more likely
there should
to be.
Should there be more guns in black communities, like in impoverished ones?
I think anybody who wants to have a gun for self-defense should have one. I mean, if anything, those people who live in those neighborhoods who do have jobs and do work and are just trying to do the right thing by the society, they have every right in the world to defend themselves from the bad guys who run around and just shoot people because they're wearing the wrong colored jacket. I mean, people in those communities are more likely to be victims of crimes. Therefore, they should be higher armed. They should have firearms to defend themselves.
Jesus, Brian, I didn't know you were still waiting out there. You good? You got back in. Somebody moved you back in. Holy shit. Okay. Excuse me. Let's do another one from Reich here.
But when Republicans in Congress let the ban lapse,
let's end at 10 p.m. East.
That makes sense.
In
I gotta get up at 5 in the morning.
That sounds good. Yeah.
2004, gun massacres more than.
Speaking of 5.
Yeah.
5. You still there? 5.
Doubled. Number 2, the Second Amendment was never intended to permit mass slaughter. When the Constitution was written more than 200 years ago, the framers' goal was to permit a well-regulated militia.
That's one of the stupidest. This is what you mean, though. So whoever said
tell people not to murder people. I mean, that's
emotional hot button.
Oh my god.
His first argument is fine. Like he's telling you that there is a certain crossover of all these different reduced.
Yeah, give you a stat.
Yet this though, it's not meant to permit mass slaughter.
Yeah.
Fuck off.
Most anti-gun arguments are
psychological manipulation.
I mean, back in the day, the left, the liberals were actually, I thought, were the better ones. They were actually for freedoms and for low-income people, trying to help encourage disenfranchised. Now they just use emotions to fight people. I mean, if you disagree with me, you're a racist. This guy said, "Don't monkey it up," and apparently now that's the most racist term ever used. I mean, I can't. The left has just gone so far away that I think either the party's going to fail or there's going to be a complete, changing in the party. And if it goes to this liberal socialist thing, it still never went.
You ever, and this is a little bit, man. a little bit of a tangent, but do you ever kind of get the sense that now, like that whole right wing, center right wing, that whole thing is starting to build up? And do you ever like see people kind of start to bring that back over? Like all of a sudden, those guys who are the '90s, like weird, uptight, right wing kind of conservative type people, all of a sudden they feel like more, um, encouraged to like start opening their mouths again, and they just sound stupid. And you're like, shut up! Like we're gonna take over this shit. You just sit back and just vote for the same person.
I don't. I mean,
No.
I get it in the next 15 years maybe, but the long game plan. I mean, you import enough people from third world socialist workers parties, and you're gonna get a fucking third world socialist workers government. You're pretty fucking soon.
That's the plan of the,
You want the
plan of the Liberal Party. I mean, you look at that book the guy wrote, quote unquote, "Fighting Dirty," where they want more immigrants and more illegal immigrants because 2/3 of them vote for Democrats because they're the ones paying for them and letting them be here for free and giving them everything they ever wanted in life.
You
and
want
then that they have kids on a rate way higher than people in America, and eventually they're going to out demographic us and continually vote for them, and it's only going to be what they want, be what the socialists want.
Now I
which
hear
is
Pete talking.
complete control.
Hey Pete, if you give guns to all these fucking girls walking around in the park, how are you gonna get laid, bud?
I'm
fuck.
Matthias. I'm Matthias, and I have other means.
Who was that? Oh, of course.
He's a chloroform.
Well, no, actually, be honest, bro. One of the best things to do if you want to get laid by a chick is bring them to a gun range, without a doubt.
Yeah.
They're not even like once you let a girl shoot a gun, you like first they're gonna be afraid of it if they never shot a gun before. But,
Yeah.
Well, no, bro, they get like empowered, like they love it. They want to keep
Yeah.
doing it, and then they get like all the fucking emotions going through it, and women are just emotional
They
beings.
get all the little things they
Take 'em home
want.
and
They get
think
the
about 'em.
picture. Oh, look at me! I look like a badass in this picture with
Yeah, bro,
with
dude.
this gun. Yeah, you're right.
When I was young, I never thought anything about bringing a chick to a gun range. And then some older heads that I knew who were like, like 50 into the, I met through the gun scene. They said, do it, do it, do it. And it
Or-
works. 100% it works 100% of the time.
Get a ATV, a 4-wheeler, or a snowmobile, because that's doing when they're riding it.
Oh, yeah. Rubbing on their thing.
Yep. You don't. They're all ready to go. You don't have to do any work.
Things that would make your like adrenaline run. It
Yep.
just- I mean, most people in general like that. Women are just they operate on a higher emotional level than men. They like
Mhm.
it even more. You know, what I mean, bringing a girl to a gun range is a great date, and it works out pretty well.
Yeah. Yeah, activity. That's always the activity.
The hashtag women are funny too, guys.
A well-lighted activity. Don't go to like a concert. Don't go to anything where you're both sitting there staring at something.
Yeah, and you're getting sweaty. Don't go anywhere where you're gonna get super sweaty because then your balls are gonna smell horrible. Go to a nice, whether there's an indoor gun range with AC, or if you're going outdoor run early in the morning before it gets hot.
AC for
no
your
one,
balls.
outdoor gun ranges are cool because
Man,
if you go early enough, no one's around, bro. Perfect.
Polish Ray Apple, dude. Polish Ray Apple. I really want to talk to you. I think this is our chance. We both jump on and talk for a little bit. I'll put some music on or some shit for the stream.
Yeah, man. I'm so shit at gun debate, man. I didn't know it was the main course. I was all in with the appetizers.
Huh.
I thought I was going to be arguing with the lawyer.
Yeah, me too. I thought I was gonna go with 5 there.
5.
But I think I did good. He said at one point I changed his mind a little bit.
Yeah. He hyped himself up a little bit. Let me read this DM. Hold on a second. Oh, he's not even there. It's not as funny if he's not there.
Okay, guys, I gotta get going.
All right, horse friend, dude. It was awesome. It's the first time I've met you and talked to you. It was a lot of fun.
Let's do this again.
And, most definitely.
Hopefully I'll be a little more educated.
Yeah. We'll come up with something that's really divisive. We'll get something.
Yeah, because guns are actually really fun at the end of the day.
I love all you guys in a non-homosexual way.
Oh.
Wait, who was that?
I like y'all kind of gay,
oh,
to be honest.
Pete's
I mean, if
cousin.
you want to get that way, I mean, I got to see your pictures if I think you're cute or not. But in a non-homosexual way, you guys are all. I love all you guys.
Pete's cousin. Why don't you come on more on your account?
I don't have my own. I've been on before talking to some of other My cousin's friends there, but
You
I still
live
got
with
I got to
people?
download the Discord and do all that kind of stuff.
Do you live with them? You're both in the same apartment?
Yeah, we are the roommates.
5 Iron, why did you send me a bathroom mirror selfie? I did not even see this till just now.
Oh, he's hitting on you, bro. There's his dong in the picture.
Wait a minute, let me see. Oh, did I
Is
tell?
his dick shadow in the
Oh,
picture?
I
No,
got.
there's his dick.
All right, I fucked up. It was his birthday yesterday, and I said, "Send me
Probably wants
something."
that birthday sex.
I know. I said, "Send me something to put
Don't tear
on
that
the
thing up, though.
stream," like I did with Zanhead the week before that, and I'll do Happy Birthday 5. But he sent that. I didn't see it in time though. Okay, so this is what he said. This is him. This is him hyping it up. Damn it, he kind of wanted to be here for it to give him a hard time. He goes, I have an idea for a guest feature on DTRH. Let's discuss the Second Amendment. I was debating it with Reed, Rage, Tom, and Legs, and it led to a very interesting back and forth. I'll record some stats, and I'll try to discuss both sides. What say you? Wait a minute. In my memory, he hyped it up more. Oh, he goes, thanks, babe. Make it known. Might make... Never mind. Dude, I thought he hyped it up more. I'm an ass.
He did,
Dude,
yeah. Before
I
he got on
fucking...
here, he hyped it up pretty good.
I hyped up his message claiming that he hyped it up. I'm the asshole. That was full...
Adding me, telling me to get in here like it was urgent.
Yeah, that was full... He said urgent? He said urgent?
I mean, like, there's a bunch of people.
Oh.
Like, yeah, I thought it was urgent. I mean, I had to, like, quit doing what I was doing.
Oh, yeah, no, we were just chilling. Oh, that was, like, full circle, like, ironic, boom, hitting me. Worthless? Yeah, dude. I was worthless on this one. I was just trying to moderate it. Like, just ask some questions and move the conversation along. I didn't want to give my opinion. My opinion, honestly, is that I'm not a gun owner. Like, I want to be, but New York State, and I don't want to go through the whole process right now. But,
from what I know about New York State, you can go in right now, walk out with an AR-15. I mean, it'll be your quote-unquote featureless rifle, but it's still registered as a rifle. You could take that home that day.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. Because like they have, it was the New York. I mean, I used to live up in there in New York. So
near
when
the
I
Great
bought my
Lakes?
first gun, it was in New York. No. It was on Long Island.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm up near the Great Lakes.
Yeah, but it should, if anything, it'd be actually easier for you if you wanted to get like a handgun permit. Those more rural areas are more lenient with it. They just take too long and cost so much money to get a handgun permit.
Yeah, but
But
like
you could walk into a gun shop right now, walk out with a quote unquote featureless AR-15, which will be, it has like a 10-round mag or whatever they're allowed now, 5-round mags or whatever they're allowed to have. The stock can't move and you can't put your thumb around the pistol grip. That's
Okay.
literally the only difference. You can walk out of that today with filling out your 4473 background check, having an ID
Hold
on
on.
you. That's all you need.
What does that mean? You can't put your thumb around the pistol grip.
Well, Google right now, New York compliant AR-15s. Like, you know what an AR-15 looks like, right?
Yeah, New York.
You know where you would hold the gun where the trigger is. That is your pistol grip. You're not allowed to have pistol grips in New York State. So what people did was create a thing called the fin, FIN, which would be a piece of plastic coming off the back of the pistol grip, almost making it, it would go up and touch the stock. So you can't actually use it as a pistol grip. So it's no longer considered a pistol grip. It's the exact same gun, an AR-15.
Yeah, it just like kind of reverts to a long rifle grip.
Yeah. There's a bunch of different modifies and different companies make different things. That's just the one that looks the least stupid.
Hold on. Tell me what. Hang on. Can you still see the side tube?
Yeah, hon. All right, I'm there.
Is that it right there?
Yeah, New York State compliant. Yeah, that's a pistol, a standard pistol grip, which most states you can have.
I'm gonna mute it too, by the way.
Oh, so yeah, you can even do what this dude did, was just cut the bottom of it off. It's not considered a quote unquote pistol grip.
You gotta
anymore.
You gotta be kidding me. Look at that. Look, dude, I can't fucking hold that shit. You can still
Yeah,
put something
makes
up
it a
in
pain
there,
the
right?
ass.
Like, what he's doing right now, and I have him muted for the stream, by the way, but what he's got right there, that's not the final product, right?
What do you mean?
Like,
if you went out and bought, would you buy that exact gun?
no, I'm saying, like, see how I'll rewind it a little bit. See how it's, like, right there? So where the trigger is, can you still put a little something up in there to, like, make it a little bit longer?
No, so when you would go to a gun shop and they'd have different models because every company made a different version of it just to sell it to people. That's just one of the different models. I mean, there's ones like I said where it would be like a full pistol grip, like in the beginning of that picture. There's a piece of plastic mounted to the back of the pistol grip, so you can't put your thumb around it. You'd have to hold it just from the side. There's a million. There's even a company. I think it's called Fight Light. If I got to look it up, I think it's called Fight Light. That's like puts like basically a traditional style hunting rifle stock on the AR-15. So it looks actually is probably the best looking gun. Here, let me Google it. I'm pretty sure it's called Fight Light. But no, I mean, it goes back to like the whole stupidity of what a quote unquote assault weapon is, and all you have to do is do that to get around it. It's stupidity at its finest.
I mean, dude, that's fucking weak right there. Like, what kind of...
stupid.
Not only does it look stupid, it's like all your fingers are hanging off the thing.
Yeah, I mean, the AR-15s don't really have any recoil. There's not much there, but
right.
It makes, if anything, it makes the firearm less safe to have it like that because it's harder to put the safety on and off and hold the gun properly. But I mean, that's just how it goes. Yeah, Fight Light.
I'm gonna beat it up like Fight Night.
Yeah, Fight FIGHTLITE. Fight Light. And they'll have New York compliant guns, and these look the best out of all of them.
Okay. Yeah, let me see a little bit into this video here. Yeah, that's fine. I don't mind the 10 mags. I don't mind that.
Yeah, but you can also have multiple 10-round magazines. There was companies doing it where you could connect the bottom of the mags together, so it would be a little longer. So all you gotta do is press the button, take it out, twist your wrist, and put it back in if you needed another 10 rounds.
I need to see him shoot this, because, dude, look at that fucking thing. Let me ask the chat what's going on with this.
They look weird.
Yeah, like, this shit's a joke.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm seriously, like, trying to at least take over, like, this one little corner of my old neighborhood. In, if anything goes down, like Fallout 3 style, I already know exactly what I'm taking over. And there's like a little kind of like forest trail that connects these three, and it goes up against this like not really like forest, like a fucking huge ass, kind of hard to describe because it's something that's only around this area, but it's like a gigantic sandbar cliff, and it kind of goes through, and then there's a little creek area. But dude, I'm gonna take those three, and I'm gonna need more than just that fucking little barrel thing. Alright, let's hear this guy's arguments on gun crime, then we'll end it.
I'm looking up more gun stuff for you.
Bit my tongue, and it's killing me. You got more gun stuff? Alright.
Yeah, I'm looking up more New York compliant gun stuff. Because what I was looking into that Fight Light stuff, you have to use different internal parts, which kind of, I mean, if you won't like that look, you got to go with it. But you mean if you need a part breaks, you can't just use any part. You have to go to that exact company and buy that exact part, which is kind of yeah.
I got you. We got like 34 people in here, but everyone's just sitting there listening. Nobody's really typing. Press 1.
Oh, dude, that's hilarious.
Press 1 if you think Opie stinks at radio.
As much as I realize.
Just the most cheap way to see if anyone's listening out there and actually there. All right, let's hear this guy's gun
Listen to this. I
arguments.
googled New York safe. I googled New York compliant AR-15, and the first page that came up is the gun shop I used to shop at on Long Island.
Number one. Oh, everyone's there. Hell yeah, 111. 2 damage. What's up, dude? Dude, 2 damage. Should I give it a shill? Should I give the old side tube a shill? You still doing it every night or every weekday at 4 p.m.? Or Monday through Thursday at 4 p.m.? Let me know. You gotta link for me. I'll get it on the screen.
The thing that I was telling you about is called where was it? Let me go back up to it. They just had it here. The Fight Light ARES.
Okay. Now 1 second, guys.
And that gives you more of a. It looks the best out of all of them.
John,
but then you're going to need different internal parts if you ever need to replace it. Compared to if you got one that looks funny, you can use any AR-15 parts to replace it.
Porsalin, what the fuck? No, I don't. Porsalin's talking shit over here. I don't know if he meant that I want to fight you or that I want some other kind of piece. I'm just having a good time talking Pete's cousin here. Me and Pete's cousin. Oh, so what do you think? Let me know. Pete around? Is he listening?
Pete's in the other room.
Okay, so what do you think of Pete over like the past 6 months politically?
Do you think that what are you referring to? Like his complete red pill? Huh?
Oh no, there he
is.
is.
He was walking in the room.
Yeah. So we're talking about Fight Light.
Yeah. Yeah. Fight Light ARES.
I don't
see
think it's like red pill. It's like he had a red tab that he put on his tongue and he's just tripping on it now.
Tripping, bro.
He's just fucking riding the wave.
But there's all different types. Basically, the best way to do it is walk into a gun store up there, and they'll tell. They want to sell a gun, so they'll tell you everything you need to know if you're really looking into buying a New York compliant AR.
Yeah, these look.
Which I think is the best way to go. I mean, that's right now. That's the best. AR-15 semi-automatic magazine-fed rifles are the best, and you don't need to pay. I think like to own a handgun in New York, it's like a $600 permit, and it takes a long time to get just to own a handgun.
Dude,
I don't think it's even worth going through that. Just go buy a New York compliant AR-15.
We got an anti-gun guy coming in. Ready?
Oh God.
I might
we
be
gotta
speaking.
Hurry up, man. I gotta get up in fucking 6.5 hours.
Okay, maybe we'll do 10 minutes. What's up?
Oh
Hey.
God, it's Bick. I bet it's not even hockey, by the way.
Hockey?
No.
So you said we were talking about hockey?
Let me mute the.
Oh, all right. Well, what Pete's cousin was talking about was looking into the New York compliancy laws. Vic, what do you think of the gun laws? Are like sufficient? They're pretty good where they're at, and everything's probably doing fine. Obviously, there's gonna be shootings and stuff. It's gonna happen, but for like the most part, it's probably good where it's at.
Well, I'm definitely not an expert on where gun laws are at because I don't own guns.
What's up, Vic?
What up, dog? But they're clearly not doing well enough considering that every mass shooter seems to get their guns illegally. Thoughts?
Well, there shouldn't be any gun laws.
Here's the thing: like in Europe, obviously they all get them illegally too, and those guys have 25% more casualties per shooting. 2009 to 2015, we learned tonight.
No, they don't. They don't have a higher gun death rate.
No. Like for
during
one,
mass shootings, more people die.
Yeah, for each one because of all the amount of people.
So which?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you seem to be extrapolating some strange statistic out of a tiny handful of mass shootings. It seems like
no. There was more mass shootings in Europe than there was in the U.S. Well, there's more deaths in Europe from 2009 to
And I think in
2015.
France there was if you include mass car killings, there's more. completely.
Are you differentiating
saying in the
Eastern and
UK
Western Europe as well?
Okay, I'll get you the page so you can read it over. So I'm not just telling you.
I mean, Europe is far more. It's. Sorry.
I don't even
Like
know.
if you encompass all of the shitholes in Europe, it's like when you come to like variants of first to third world sort of countries and shit like that, like Europe's far more diverse than America. America's a first world country. Europe's filled with all kinds of different political
and that's
abusive fucking
especially
nations and
worth
shit.
noting, by the way. Yeah.
So
see, hang on 1 second.
And is the Matt Tard? I assume it's B Tard's friend or cousin or whatever.
Yeah, Bick, we've talked before.
Cousin, yep. Okay, here.
Yeah, exactly.
Here's the
Look,
stats.
I'm not saying that I don't. I'm not saying that I don't respect your views, but what I'm saying is that I don't think that we should excuse the schools filled of the bodies of dead children.
Vic, don't. What do you?
For you to Okay, let me rephrase. Let me rephrase that. I don't think the schools full of dead children excuse your childish and stupid hobby.
Vic, all right.
We just watched a video that showed like an anti-gun guy,
Right,
using emotion as an argument. I mean,
We're
that
all-
goes to say you don't have a real argument.
We're all dead inside here, Vic.
I'm just being a cunt. I'm just.
Yeah, like people, those
not like
fucking
you.
things, they will never work on us because everyone's dead inside here. So it's got to be, you got to give us that cold hard. And check this out. It was 27% more casualties per mass shooting incident in the European Union than the U.S. That's the one. If you go down to
Okay, how about let's use the good countries in the European Union.
well, there's a lot of bad places in the U.S.
The European Union has a lot of shitty countries.
Yeah, but we're counting Detroit and Chicago. I mean, that's kind of rough.
Mass shootings are happening. Dude, you're talking about Bulgaria, Romania, Bulgaria, Romania, fucking.
Dude, Bulgaria's pretty badass.
Shootings
They
are
make
coming
really
from
good
like,
AKs.
France and shit.
Slovakia, Latvia, Slovenia, some real fucking you can't equate those to American.
It's an
Bulgaria makes
infantile
great
argument.
AKs.
Yeah,
Bulgaria
man, the
makes some of
shootings
the
are coming in
finest
like
AKs in the
Sweden
country.
and France.
It's an argument that only an infant could fall for.
But dude, Vic, at least read it and counter
I
it. I
support
mean,
Bulgaria.
it's legit. According to
Bulgaria makes some of the
Investors
finest
Business Daily,
AK-47s on the market.
or whatever the hell this one.
I mean, if you guys are happy saying that Bulgaria, Croatia, and fucking Latvia are as first world as your
Croatia,
American
like,
great
the
country,
shootings are not
then go ahead.
Oh, hold on. Let's
I would
wait.
like to hear a rehash of the reasons why we should have weapons of mass murder available for civilian use.
Weapons of what?
Mass murder.
Can I answer him?
I don't think that.
Yeah, go ahead.
That's what I was asking.
Him framing the
Because
argument
it's
like
none of
that.
your business what I privately own.
Yeah, like they're not illegal, and we're trying to make them legal.
No, it's not. It's called the Fourth Amendment.
You framing the argument like that, Bick, is trying to attribute something that you haven't attained yet. Why we should, as if like it's marijuana and we're trying to figure out how to make it legal. Like you can't have that. You cannot have that perspective to look down. They're already everywhere.
I disagree because this seems to be the only country where mass shootings happen on at least a monthly basis.
I don't know, man. Look at this
Would
stat.
you
Look at
count
these
Syria
stats.
as part of that?
No, I don't count Syria as part of that.
But look at these stats,
'Cause if
dude.
you
It's
say- you
pretty
said
rough.
The country. I mean, you didn't say first world countries.
Fine. Okay, how about non-shitty country? How about
Whoa,
regular
come on.
country?
You
Just
just listed the European Union.
Wow, what a racist.
Yeah, it's a racist comment, Beck.
I don't think it's a racist comment.
I think Egg Omelet Omarosa has you on tape saying the N word.
I think you just said shithole countries. I mean, come on.
Come on, bro.
Knives kill
Rick's
more
a white
people
nationalist.
than rifles in America.
And the trouble is with
I'm just expose myself as a white nationalist because I don't want more schools full of dead bodies. So you guys can pursue your stupid and childish hobby. Shut up.
Yeah, shut up.
What about military, bro? I have a gun, you don't.
The trouble is with the statistics that cite the mass shooting stuff, they don't take into account deaths that are related to armed robberies or gang activity or any of that sort of stuff. They only talk about mass shootings that happen in public. Really, they're the like.
Yeah,
No. Every
Wait, let Pearl and Porcelain go for a sec. They got a good.
Good.
What happened?
Good.
Pearl, you dropped out.
No.
Oh, there he is.
No, I was saying that.
His point for him.
Oh my God! Shut up, Dick.
Dick.
I mean, like, what's the fucking point?
Hey, I was asking.
Yeah, I'm out. This is
No, wait. Wait, Porcelain and Pearl.
I'll just need to see the parameters of what the definition of a mass shooting is in the statistics that you guys are citing. I mean, you could be right, but I'm just saying that I know of many occasions where they often use mass shootings to not include armed robberies or gang violence.
Yeah,
and it's just
and
instances
some of them they use the other way
it's
too.
just their mass shooting that occurs in public. So yeah, you could be right, but I would definitely like, because I would definitely think that would skew the statistics in against
they're very skewed.
Carlos, I got you, buddy.
What I would absolutely argue isn't a gangbanger shooting his pistol out the window and hitting bystanders, which often happens, or his Uzi or whatever the fuck.
Dude, if you're talking about mass shootings, you can't ignore the gangland MS-13 style shit, because because the people they're killing are other gang members doesn't necessarily mean their murders didn't happen.
But aren't you like going for it? Because this is really abstract.
Ingrained into those statistics.
Let me get in after this.
But no, good.
Like it's very like subtle and subconscious with the word mass shootings. Like I feel like the going postal thing or the school shooting thing, it definitely in my head it pops up, and I don't know about everyone else's. So it's like when those gang shootings are counted, they're so targeted and they're so isolated into their spot. I just feel like it's like, I mean, look, that's the fair legal definition of it, but I do feel like it's
the
like
same thing about schools. Like I don't go to schools, so it's out of mind for me as well.
Well, I mean, also different agencies describe it differently.
Because it's not your control group doesn't necessarily mean that they're not murders on U.S. soil.
It's not even that though. It's the
It's
randomness of it.
Constantly brought up like, oh, that's not gun violence, that's gang violence, as if it doesn't matter.
No,
they don't say it's not gang violence or gun violence. They say gang violence has a different answer than mass shootings because they're different people doing the trigger pulling.
It's like random.
Who shoots up a school or puts up an area.
No, I think they both have the exact same answer.
I think when it comes to gun violence, the only thing I'm interested in are deaths.
What were you saying, Porcelain?
They absolutely have the exact same answer. Porcelain, sorry, go ahead.
Really? They really do?
Yeah, they do. You fucking asshole. They do.
I'm sure. Let's look at every other country that's supplied that shit.
Yeah, they absolutely do, you smug fucking cocksucker. They absolutely do.
Whoa,
What are you, stupid?
Watch your language.
Bick, you're calling people smug now. Come on. You told everyone they were dumb as fuck.
Dude, I'm never gonna.
Just gets loud when he's
I'm never gonna say that I'm not a hypocrite.
Just gets loud when he's getting.
Fair enough.
I would never say that in a million years. I'm sorry, Porcelain, go on.
This is okay, Vic. I was just saying that, like, I would probably really just to hear the I don't like the dilution of the statistics. I would much rather hear deaths related as a direct consequence of gun violence. And I think cherry picking targets or cherry picking where they're from. I think that's a game that's played at at sort of police level where to use statistics to pretend that their department's doing better than other. And again, I don't think it really helps the argument in any direction, really. And again, it could end up that you guys, that America actually has a lot better results than people think. But I don't know.
We actually don't, because we have schools filled with dead children.
No, we
on
don't.
an almost monthly basis.
No, we don't.
Yes, we do, on an almost monthly basis.
Oh, that's
or as
a
Madden tournament.
That's such a massive
it's
straw man, emotional,
kidding me?
heartstrings tugging argument.
I'm with F.
Completely, dude.
Monthly mass shooting in this country. Are you
You're
shitting me?
overreacting.
We really don't.
You're overreacting.
Again, so you can say we have a monthly mass shooting, but then you're counting drive-bys into that? Because I'm telling, dude,
Okay, fine. We have a weekly mass shooting then. Good point.
dude, because you will present that article, right? You will show that article in the front of Newsweek, and you will show the picture. This is how it works, dude. This is the mental
I'm sorry, I forgot
thing.
to take in drive-bys into account for that. Sorry, we have a mass shooting every
No.
single
I'm
day
saying
in this country.
you need to take drive-bys into that. You would have to take them in order to say we even have a monthly one. So listen, this is how it gets presented. Newsweek uses the statistic: 3 people that die in a gang shooting and a drive-by. All right, now that's going to be counted as a mass shooting. So monthly mass shootings in the U.S., worst it's ever been. Big giant cover photo of the Newton, Connecticut empty classroom. There's a teacher right there, looking like she's getting ready for her new school year right now. Article starts out, blah, blah, blah. In that article, though,
I'm not talking about Newton. That happened a couple
70%. I'm saying like 70% of what they're using to be able to actually write that article and not have it be a lie would be like gang drive-bys and shit.
Yeah.
We just don't have like, I mean, dude, we had one in Florida.
monthly mass shootings. You're really saying that?
I mean, you can look at the Evertown for Gun Safety's website. I mean,
you're saying
Bick, if you keep shouting over me. No, not every few weeks.
I'm not trying to shout over you. Shit. Sorry, go ahead.
You just call somebody smug motherfucker, and then you just fucking laugh at full volume as I'm trying to just make a point.
Bick is a very emotional man.
I am an
Basically just a masculine woman. He has a cat too. He's a very masculine woman.
That's all I'm saying is, like, Porson's right in that. Porson's right in that they definitely, like, manipulate things that media does, police do, and this whole stats thing, it does get extremely messy.
Bias.
It does get messy, and I will grant you that. Even though your side is making it messy,
that's a lie.
It clearly is.
No, it's not.
A lie, and it absolutely
Complete
is.
lie.
But
Not
no,
at
it's
all.
not a lie. And the
Yes, it
idea
is.
that it isn't is fake news, and you're fake
You're
news.
fake news.
You're fake news.
Well, I mean, just look at the Evertown for Gun Safety's website. First, they put up school shootings since the beginning of the year, and they put like 90 something. But they counted people next to the school shooting at other gang members part of school shootings. They got hit back, and then they turned it to shootings on property of schools. And then they still use numbers of people. One guy during the summer shot himself in the face on school grounds, and he used that as trying to portray it as a mass shooting. That's the left being against
have a
laws.
mass shooting every single fucking month. Yeah, I forgot.
I'm
we
not.
don't have.
You just said that my
because
side of the
liberal
argument
media-
is the one pushing false narratives when the Evertown for Gun Safety, who backs every single anti-gun liberal candidate, lies to the American people.
The one manipulating statistics, saying
How?
that
Name
gang
one.
violence
Just
doesn't
name-
matter
give me
because
one
it's
example.
not real gun violence.
No,
Give me
it's
one example.
dude. But Bick, you're calling up all this stuff about schools full of dead children, and then you're trying to sneak fucking drive-bys into it. Get real, dude. Get real.
No, I'm not trying to.
Just give me
You're
one
sneaky.
example.
I'm
Give me
including that.
one example, please.
You can't include that in a talk about schools full of dead children every time.
Yes, you can.
You're sneaking it.
If you're trying to push an agenda-ridden argument, yeah, you can.
We're gonna have to look this up. Mass shooting stuff.
Let me try to explain this calmly.
All right.
Yeah,
I don't think it's I don't think it's unreasonable to group together different epidemics of gun violence under one inclusive banner. I don't think that's being a liberal asshole.
Well, use an
Thoughts?
inclusive banner. Use the term mass shootings, not school shootings, when there's not a school involved. Don't say there's a classroom full of dead kids when it was a gangland shooting in the middle of the hood. That's what you were doing.
Okay, how about we have multiple school shootings every single year, dude?
Well, yeah, I mean, there's multiple killings in almost every single country throughout the year.
No, but there's not multiple school shootings every year in every country. This is basically the only country where this happens.
We're also the only country where you can legally own a firearm for self-defense.
It's also the only country where you're not guaranteed health care. But for some reason, America thinks
you shouldn't
America
be.
thinks we've invented the better mousetrap for health care and gun rights.
You shouldn't be.
Meanwhile, nobody has health care.
You don't have a right to someone else's product.
The school halls are filled with bodies of the dead.
Yeah, but fucking Jamal killing Jerome and Taekwon with an Uzi, that counts too. Now look at this though,
guys,
dude.
I gotta go to bed. I'm gonna get out of here, guys.
All right.
We'll see you guys later.
Peace
out, homies.
See you, dude. Thanks a lot for coming. Yeah, tell Pete I said goodbye, and it was fun.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna give him the phone, so he might even hop on.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, top Pete will be happy to talk to him.
Yeah. But dude,
it's just as fucking stupid.
Oh, that's mean. But all right, hold on. Let me hand it to him.
I'm just playing.
see, look at this kind of article. 17 killed, 2018. Okay, all right. 2007. Come on, I can't possibly jump from 2018.
Where
2012.
did you find that? Kosovo?
No, dude, Sky News. They're pretty fucking liberal. I mean, man, they're coming up with like one every 4 or 5 years. This is nothing.
What every 4 or 5 years?
And that's why I think that the side where you're trying to support is the one manipulating at least the mass shooting statistic more. That's my opinion. Now the other side probably manipulates a lot of stuff.
Is that Norway, the Norway thing just
Yeah.
skews the European numbers so massively. If you look below that, the next is Serbia at 0.38, which is still higher than the US actually. So, and then you look at you have to go until you reach kind of France really. France,
Yeah.
Also,
dude, France is kind of high.
Like you don't compare the United States, mass shooting or school shooting or whatever shooting rate. You're not comparing it to a single European country. You're using the European Union statistic because it's more favorable.
Yeah, I guess so, maybe, but I don't know. Like, you could look there at that thing I sent Porson. I think it did say France was worse,
France
like
is
per
very
capita.
high. France is definitely worse than America.
France
Britain,
has been shitty forever.
But again, this is average mass shooting death rate, and I would need to know what the qualifiers are and who they're excluding.
Yep.
From,
It never says it in the article. I'm looking at like 3-4 articles right now.
That's the only I've been trying to look myself, and from what I've read, they suggest that it's more than 3 people, and they also make sure that it's like in public as well, and it doesn't include gang violence. It doesn't include potential.
We just had. I mean, to be fair, we just had 500 people shot using a tool that some gun rights owners are still defending.
Where?
They're still defending bump stocks.
What?
Well,
Bomb
stocks are
sites?
pretty cool.
And if you think of like American deaths from like home invasions and from like domestic abuse, domestic cases and stuff, they're not going to be counted towards mass shootings because they're not in public. And in European countries where there's no access to guns around the home, or at least no legal access to guns around the home, you've got to imagine that the comparative statistic is much lower in Western first world European countries than it is in America. But that would just be me speculating.
Well, you're also less invested because you're not offing each other in each other's schools for no reason.
According to this, according to this list, we are apparently like there's as many gun deaths per capita in the UK as in America for some reason, and I don't know anyone who has a gun, so it's a weird. But
Yeah.
apparently,
I guarantee. Hold on. First of all, one of the problems, and I will give this to the right wing, is that when they report gun death statistics, they also include gun suicides in that.
Oh, okay.
And that is a
mass suiciding. I say he went to a school and just like took a rail gun and did a like single file line into the gym. He took them all out.
I'm saying they use a gun. They use suicides where a gun is used as a metric for gun violence.
Interesting.
Which is not correct. You should not use that.
You know, here's Vox.
The definition for violence should be you used it on a different person other than yourself.
Vox claims that we've let 1,800 mass shootings happen since. This is exactly what I was talking about. How I think it's manipulative. Okay, so look at this thing. It's got a whole like graph and all this shit. 1826 mass shooting happens. Remember Sandy Hook. Look at and watch all the shit that they like put into your mind, like mental manipulation.
Yeah, remember the.
Do you think these are all
in your mind that Sandy Hook is a false flag?
Oh, no, not the right wing. This is fucking small proportion.
Alex Jones is the right wing.
Okay, so now you go to Sandy Hook. You go scroll down. Oh, now you go to Florida. See, they get all the little media mayhem ones. Now you go to Las Vegas. They're getting all that in your head. And then you go, oh my God, 1,800. This is insane. However, it's fucking just gangs. It's all made up with gangs. That's what I mean by being cheap.
Again, I just pointed this out. That the right wing constantly says, oh, it's gang violence, as if that's okay. Where
no, dude, you're not.
The free access to guns has nothing to do with that.
All you gotta do is, and you can choose not to get me, but that isn't what I'm trying. I'm not trying to make some blanket statement or definitive statement.
Yeah,
I'm saying, I'm saying like this is mental manipulation. Because like, look at this article. Like I just said, you gotta see what they designed for the user to see right away and get like put in their head. They named all those ones, but
yeah, but just like you said,
trying to find the actual stats so we can see official.
You're referencing something that is putting something in your head.
But like deliberately.
Gun violence isn't real. It's just gangs.
Subversively.
It's just gangs killing each other. As if that doesn't matter.
No, you're straw manning me now.
It's sort of what you just said.
No, all I'm saying is like compromise with me on that. That they definitely use the gang shootings to be able to pad stats.
Yeah, what?
No, it's not padding stats. It's a problem, and it's part of the mass shooting problem.
A legitimate thing with Braun's thing is they'll use an emotional argument about school shoot, and they'll really drone in on the school shooting things, but then they'll encompass the gang shooting figures within that. So it's a to and a fro, and I think that both I hate to be fence-sitter faggot kind of guy, but I think but they both skew the statistics to favor their own arguments, and it gets to the point where you've really got
mass gang shootings are not an emotional argument that you can't make.
No, Bick. I agree that they matter. At the end of the day, most of the gang members, or at least I don't know about most, but there's if the gang members are American citizens, then they count. If they're immigrants coming in and getting shot, I don't give a fuck. But if they're American citizens, they're still getting killed, but at the hand of a gun. And I don't understand why there's this semantics argument about whether or not they're real murders or not. Like, of course they are, but yeah, it gets pulled. But
can I explain why they don't?
No. But just to finish.
Black, Because they're black people. That's
No,
why they don't
oh,
think they're real
Bick.
murders.
Listen, Bick, just
No,
work
Bick,
with
just
me.
to
Work
finish,
with
though.
us.
That's why the right wing doesn't
Bick.
think they're real murders, and
No,
they don't
Bick,
matter.
No,
Bick, just
that's-
to finish though, Bick. What you see on no, but what you see a lot of is this emotion, especially on the left, is this emotional pleading about gun. We need to clamp down on the Second Amendment due to school shootings, due to the fact that your children could be next, your children could be murdered at
Right.
the hands of this, and then they'll throw out figures that encompass gang shootings as well. And I think that's duplicitous. I don't think that's necessarily fair because
No, I think you're correct.
Same
I think
thing
the
with
left should be more- I think the left should be more honest about gun control.
yeah, the
Because-
left's argument should be.
And I think that they should be bringing more attention to the fucking rampant gang violence that happens
Yeah,
because of
absolutely.
the readily availability of guns.
Yeah, and
No,
and there should
I
be-
don't
the
know if
argument-
that's why.
The argument should be: do you want your neighborhood, sort of filled with gangs with easy access to illegal firearms and
Mhm.
who are murdering each other and it like that should be the left should really try and cling on to that argument rather than make this really easy moral moral fucking platitude argument about
Yeah.
school shootings and then skew the statistics in their favor.
That's not the argument that I'm making.
Vic,
I agree
Vic,
with you.
just work with me on this. Look, check this article that I just tagged you in. And pretend you're like a dumb fucking person who has not a clue what's going on in politics or anything.
Vic, why don't you
You're
put
just
your
a
own
mom.
second?
You're just a mom. No, you're just like a boomer. You're a boomer mom.
It's not
Tell me-
giggling, you white nationalist asshole.
I'm not white. No. All right, listen. Like, tell me what this article puts in your head in the graphics. What does it put in your head? I mean, if you're a dumbass fucking boomer who has no clue what's going on, come on. I mean,
I'm a dumbass boomer.
look at the keywords like fucking Sandy Hook. Boom. How come
I
you-
honestly I didn't see your. I don't know where you're linking this.
We said
That's-
never again.
It's in stream communication.
After Sandy Hook, we said never again.
And just be honest. That's all I'm saying is be honest.
Porsalin, can you send that to me?
Yeah. I've just sent it to you.
No, you didn't.
I mean, this shit is trying to put in your head
Check your inbox. Check
very,
your DMs.
very intentional things. Look for the keywords and what reaction does your brain have against them?
I'm
Sorry,
trying
what?
to read it. I'm not. Can somebody send it to me? Nobody's sending it to me.
I've sent you 3 times. Jesus Christ.
Dude, I'm looking at your PM window. I sent you the Marilyn Manson song. You haven't sent me anything.
Oh,
Ron, I
no?
just sent it to me.
Okay, just go to main chat, alright, dude? I'll send it to you main chat. You'll be able to see it.
Porsalin's being a cocksucker. He didn't send it to me.
Hey.
Thank you. Sandy Hook, gun control.
Now, tell me, Bick, tell me what goes into your mind. It's sensation and perception. Gut reactions.
It's a lot of blobs.
Yeah, remember you're that
it's
dumb. You're a
it's
boomer.
a lot of mass shootings.
But what are they doing?
It seems like they're pointing out that we have a problem with gun access in the country.
Now, what specific incidents do they choose to remind you of mentally? Come on.
They use the fact that the
Oh, you're gonna defend it?
filled with dead children.
Oh my god, dude. Never mind. Forget it. It's almost the same thing as saying white nationalist terrorism is worse than. Here's the new thing SPLC does. White nationalist terrorism is worse than Middle Eastern terrorism. And then they'll go, starting on September 12th, 2001. And then they'll count. Dude,
But that's you don't think that's a statistic worth noting?
they also count if a guy is like a white nationalist guy and he gets really, really mad and he kills like his friend or he kills his wife or something like that, they count it as white nationalist terrorism now. I'll show you. I'll show you like the research about
I'd love to see that. If that's the case, that's fucked up.
or they count it as like a white nationalist hate crime or something.
Yeah, I actually think I read that.
I noticed that white terrorism is dealt with a little bit differently. Like the who was the those farmers that took over the fucking legislative building They didn't send in robots with bombs attached to them to murder them. They basically let them do whatever they wanted.
So
until
they
ran out of food.
they took over the building. Was that after the hijack of the plane, or did they do that after? Or
What are you talking about?
oh, these
Who's
these
that?
these white terrorist farmers. I just wanted to know what point of that story did they hijack a plane and slice throats of
Are you saying that
civilians?
white people need to murder 3,000 people in a single terrorist incident before they should
Yes.
be on the radar?
I'm saying it would help.
Yeah,
if
no,
they-
no, they should. Yeah, no, that's a retarded metric.
Yeah, but you're the one making the equivalency.
No, I'm not making the equivalency.
You did. You get you.
No,
were talking about
what Braun is saying is that no matter how many numerous the incidents of right-wing terrorism we have, it doesn't matter unless they kill a total of 3,000 people.
No, it's the same kind of it's manipulation of stats. That's all it is.
No, you're manipulating the stats here, dude.
Why
No, I think
wouldn't you
what he was
count?
saying is that there's a ladder of severity, and I don't think we should be freaking out about these
No, there is.
farmers
There is.
to the same degree that we should be freaking out about the Boston bomber,
Well,
who's
there
placing
is a
pressure
there is
cookers
a
in the
ladder of
middle of a
severity.
fucking marathon.
There is a
Right.
ladder of severity, and I will calmly ask you this as a rational person. Do you
Well, I
think it's
deny
fair?
that I am a rational person, but you go ahead.
I'm talking to Braun.
Yeah.
Braun, do you think it's a rational, useful thing to do to compare incidents of terrorism after 9/11 against the death toll of the single greatest terror attack in American history?
I think if you're gonna compare shit like that, you start on the first of the year in 2000, or you start before that. You don't specifically and deliberately.
2010.
So yeah, sure. Start in like 2010. Yeah, why not?
Why? Yeah, but why not count 9/11 as an anomaly? Because it's obviously going to skew all statistics in one way.
All I'm
Because it
s-
was one thing done by a few people.
Dude, it's
You were
it's
just saying
terrorism,
you don't like when
and
they
it also
you're
shows the
just saying
point.
you don't like how they
You know,
skew the
but
statistics in one way because of badly calculated.
It's not necessarily skewing, and so much that what it shows is that there's an intention on one side to kill targets, whether it's like hateful, awful, or whatever. There's the intention on the other side to kill as many innocents as possible, because that's the point of the crime. So I don't think it actually does skew that much. It does technically, but what it's actually showing is a reflection of what these people are doing and what they intend to do when they do those crimes. I think it's like pretty.
I don't like the language you're using though. These people. No, I'm not saying. No, I'm not saying like you shouldn't use that language. What I'm saying is, when you're saying these people, like, do you really think
You're not
the
joking to
majority
me?
of American Muslims are
Vic, you're not.
favorable to 9/11? Like, do you?
Yes.
Vic, I thought you were kidding and being sarcastic and doing the meet the parents line. Remember these people? You're not being.
No, I was. No, I was. Honestly, I was. But I
Right.
also don't think. I don't think that's a genuine thing to say.
Didn't they poll like a bunch of?
I didn't mean
Muslims?
all. Yeah, I didn't mean all Muslims.
And weren't
I
they
just meant-
overwhelmingly in favor?
No, they didn't.
When
I
when
saw a Ben Shapiro video that said otherwise.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, Gallup poll shows some pretty nasty things.
Yelp poll
Or
show
Pew
nasty
Research.
things worldwide.
Pew
of
Research.
Muslims worldwide.
Yeah.
And that's also worth noting.
why should your Muslims be any different?
When I said these
Because
people,
because they are different.
I could have said these people on the other guys too about these people white nationalist terrorist, these people Muslim terrorists.
Have you ever heard of Ben Shapiro? Bick?
Porsalin. I swear to God, I'm gonna fucking fly the goddamn England.
But first, me undies. The most comfortable pair of undies. I'm wearing them right now.
Those new sheets are used by 12 different presidents.
And let's hear from our second sponsor, Murder Insurance.
He probably really does have that.
Do you like guns? Of course you do. What happens if you shoot somebody? You're going to get thrown in jail. We'll hire your lawyer. Murder Insurance. Use promo code BEN for 20% off Murder Insurance.
Holy fuck, dude. Is this a real... Oh, never mind. Okay. I was reading the SPLC, trying to find that study that they did. So you can look into the...
I'm not going to sit here and defend the SPLC.
Yeah, I got you. Once you start looking into the actual citations that they're making, you're like, well, was that even motivated by what he was? Oh, so he was just associated with that group, and he had a bar fight and killed the guy? Let's see here.
I'm just saying, dude, I live next to the city with the highest Muslim population, I think, in America. I don't think we've ever had a single terrorist attack.
Oh, you live near Deerfield or whatever?
Dearborn.
Hmm.
I lived in Troy, which is very close to Dearborn. We had a shitload of Muslims and Indians. And there was basically no white people living next to me.
Yeah, but why are they
in
gonna...
the apartment complex with me?
Why are they gonna attack that? They're not gonna attack their own new caliphate. They're building right now.
Yeah, but they were all super nice.
Bunch of SCVs going and grabbing the minerals.
Cheap Xboxes.
I'm just saying, like, I feel like a lot of you guys are fucking.
No, dude, wait. No, now you're putting a lot of other stuff that we didn't even go into.
I know. I don't mean that especially, but.
Don't put it on us. I know exactly what you're talking about, but
your neighbors, it's not a scary thing.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I'm an atheist. They had a religion. It didn't. Nobody was threatening me. They weren't shutting me.
It's just different to me.
It was just they just did a different thing.
I just think for the bigger,
we all got along fine.
Yeah.
I don't understand this fear of the other.
No. It's just the bigger picture. When you look at it from being removed from it, there is something that some religions have that really, really separate them. And they say, like, well, they're not believing it. They're going to hell. They were born into this, infidel thing or goyim thing or whatever the religion is. Has designed to look down on the others.
Jews don't say that.
Vic, you want to go inside too for a minute?
No, because actually, Jews don't believe in hell, so you don't know what the fuck you're talking about with that.
No, that's not what I mean.
I like how you subtly inserted the Jews there with your.
Well, you stopped me there. I can keep going to other religions. Honestly, the point is with Christianity is that their whole purpose is try to save you from going to hell. By reading you stories out of a book. Like, it's not too bad. I don't see, like, a lot of, like, Muslim or Jewish. I'm just being honest. I don't see, what do you call it? Door-to-door. What do you call those people? Like, the Mormon...
Evangelists.
Yeah, there's another name for it, too,
Well,
I think.
they're called evangelical Christians.
Yeah. It's just there's something different about those other ones.
Evangelical Christians literally funded and sponsored a bill in Uganda to murder gay people through the power of the government.
Uganda?
Oh, where do I sign it?
I believe it was funded through a group called Focus on the Family. I might be wrong about that, but it was something like that.
They almost lost out to the Hexen witchcraft eat your neighbor party. Who came up short with 33 seats.
I mean, you're making jokes, but they actually did do that.
Yeah, I know. I've seen some crazy pictures.
Yeah, there was no Hexen the video game from the 90s. There was no Wiccan bill. There's whatever you wanted to say there.
Dude, I have
No,
seen though.
It was an American Christian sponsored bill that was put forward in
Let me see
Uganda
this.
to murder gay people.
Let's
Yeah, it
read
was.
this. American Christian. I want to see this connection here. Uganda.
Are you Googling it or do I have to prove it?
I got it.
Okay.
Honestly, something about that sounds sort of familiar, but I don't want to talk about Americans being involved. Let's see.
I mean, I'm not making it up for no reason.
David Cato's murder. They can beat you up and
How do
kill
we
you.
get Lance a Ugandan plane ticket? Is my question.
No, come on.
Hey, if anyone else wants to join, I'm probably gonna hang out for another hour, and then I was supposed to talk to Clickbait and go. We're gonna go deep down the Saiyans, Jimmernam, Unbleached rabbit hole. If you feel like joining with that too, Porsalin, you're more than welcome. And Bick, you too, but it's just not a debate. It's just gonna be like a listen and watch some videos and laugh. It'd be kind of cool to have you though, Bick too.
Yeah, I might do that.
I'm not seeing the connection to any American stuff. David Cato, this David Cato seems to be kind of like the focus piece, the guy that all the articles are written about. Got to close a lot of articles. Hold on.
Here's
Let me try to start paying attention.
Here's an article I haven't read.
Make sure I start paying attention to chat too and get them in. Okay, what article did you not read yet? Link me?
Yeah, it's for years now, evangelical activists from the United States have been speaking out against homosexuality and cheering on anti-gay legislation all over Africa. I mean, it's a known thing. I mean, so to say that.
Oh, Christians definitely have a staunch anti-gay thing. However, I mean, don't you feel like this is more like a couple guys over in the U.S. finally found the place they can go, like, exhaust their hatred freely?
No, it's actually a well-funded group.
Let's see.
By a large group of conservative Christians.
Let's see. What's the name?
Like $5 donations, just like Bernie Sanders. It's this is who Christians are.
You can gasoline tire a suspected. This
For a
man.
gallon of gasoline, you can kill a gay person in Uganda.
It's horrible. All right, let's see.
It's what it is, though. And
okay, here we go. Tony Perkins.
There was a great interview with a Muslim woman who came from one of those shitty ass countries, and she went on Sam Harris's podcast, and Sam Harris kept arguing with her and like saying like, yeah, but you must recognize that Islam is way worse. And she's saying like, no, I lived in Russia. Like, it's not like the people that were targeting me were Christians and trying to get me thrown in jail and
get you thrown in jail. That's. Dude, if you got thrown in jail in Afghanistan just for being gay, come on. You're getting off easy.
So I mean, it's a weak counter argument.
All right, well, I can play the Tug the Heartstrings game and go get a bunch of live leak videos if you want. See a couple of poor Afghanis be tested if they can fly.
Yeah, no, I'm sure they love their cell phone cameras.
That's true.
Yeah,
let's see.
They love their beheadings.
Tony Perkins is on the SPLC website. He is a hard right Christian anti-gay guy. Gay rights advocates intend to round up Christians in boxcars, he says.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
It's nonsense. It's I mean,
Hold
Braun,
on.
like you say you say you lean right. Like, don't you find it odd that everything that the right has historically stood for, at least in the past couple decades, is absolute nonsense? Like, do you find it strange at all?
What?
That the right wing has stood for absolute nonsense.
That doesn't. What are you talking about? I mean, you can. That's such a
I'm
blanket
talking
statement.
about they say that global warming is a lie. They say that homosexuality or homosexual
Who's
marriage.
they?
The Republicans.
So am I? Should I
Historically,
put on?
Okay, how about excluding the past couple years because the
Mhm.
Supreme Court passed gay marriage? But they were saying if we have gay marriage, it's going to lead to enforced liberal pedophile marriage.
Oh,
They
no,
were
I don't
saying
think
that.
they said
They were always
enforced.
saying that.
Bick, and let's be honest. The day after gay marriage was passed, what started next? Because something did start next, and
Gays getting married started next.
no, something else. A new campaign started. And I have seen, you want to like look up some articles from like a couple fringe, what do you call it, publications talking about pedophilia and how it's treated
Yeah, I'm sure
unfairly.
it's articles on from fringe places.
There's a TED talk that they try to bury that happened in Germany with a woman, a German psychologist who was talking all about that and how it's just looked at so wrong. It should be.
And so you're saying that's a result of gay marriage?
No, I'm saying what they're trying to
So you're
express
saying
when
they
they
were,
said that.
So you're saying they were lying?
Oh my
and they were
God!
wrong.
Fucking you, Kathy Newman now. That girl, that woman that interviewed
you're
Jordan
not-
Peterson.
You're saying. I was saying that they were saying that, and it's ridiculous. And you're saying, well, look what happened. Look,
The sentiment that they're trying to express. They see the thing is, Vic, when you talk about the people, they're the kind of people who do the same thing you do, where they say, "Don't you think it's funny that the right wing has just stood for nothing but absolute nonsense?" Like that's obviously a blanket statement, and you could find some accuracies, and you could find some like fucking not accuracies. So
Yeah,
it's the
but
same basic thing. Those kind of people are doing that same hyperbole. But what they are going for, I do think that we have seen a weird progression into like other things.
we've seen a weird progression into acceptance of pedophilia.
Not that far yet, but we've seen these little
Not that far yet.
These little
So
like
you're thinking
footprints
that-
in the
you're
snow.
thinking that so, of course. Yeah.
I'm thinking in
Not that far
25 years, I could make a guess that it's quite possible that there's going to be a long sort of like cultural change about, oh, we're looking at this all wrong. We just throw them in jail and like what we need to do is like get them help and let them be free and maybe
Right.
like
I would
even
argue that what we should do with them is just kill them or castrate them.
well that's it's not very like left progressive of you.
I'm not in favor of the death penalty, but
Vic,
castrate.
You drunk as fuck, aren't you?
Oh yes.
Anyway,
But
so
no, I'm absolutely in favor of you go to jail for the rest of your life or you castrate yourself.
well,
And there's actually you might be interested in watching this. Not right now, but I assume you've seen Louis Theroux's documentaries.
oh yeah, a good amount of them, but not all of them. Like not that many of them.
He did an excellent documentary on a California, basically it's sort of a prison colony for pedophiles.
Oh, I think I've seen something like that. Yeah, it's weird.
It's one of the best documentaries I've seen. it's so fucked.
Yeah.
They talk about do you know what a plethysmograph is? A plethysmograph.
Sounds like there's like bodily fluids involved in it.
It's basically a rubber band filled with mercury that you put around your dick, and then they show you images of children, and then they measure if your dick gets hard.
What? They do these plethysmographs there?
Yeah, it's called a plethysmograph. It's and they use that to figure out if they've been rehabilitated, and basically nobody is really
rehabilitated. That's not like it's one of those things where it's like you clip a bird's wings, like when it's a little baby. Like it's not like sorry man, you clipped its wings.
But there was a dude in there who literally cut his balls off. And he said, "Yeah, I'm just trying to get into a house in some community." And I'm like, "Cut your balls off, fine."
Didn't you like chemically castrate yourself somehow? He does full on.
No, he was talking about like I went with the chemical castration for a while, but then I went with the physical to make it permanent. So he literally cut his balls off, and it's like fine, you can come back to society, I guess.
But that's still, dude. I wouldn't even. I don't know. That's what I'm saying is that there's this weird experimental shit and all that. I don't like that. That all just started. All I'm saying is it's not even that it's necessarily connected.
If you cut your balls off, you get to leave prison. If you, I don't know.
You're fucking around.
Is like, I'm not even fucking around with that. I feel like if you were convicted of a sex crime and you cut your balls off, you get to go get a job or whatever.
I think you can. What about your brain? Like, there's little parts of that where you're in a stressful situation, and the way you handle it is really what got you in jail. It might not be testosterone related. It might just be the way you handle stress. The way you just
but you don't get boners if you don't have your balls.
I thought you were talking about for anything, any crime.
Well, no, I mean it is any crime really, but you don't get boners if you don't have your balls.
You want to let people out of jail for any crime that they did is if they cut their balls off.
If they have some sort of sex crime.
Okay.
If they cut their balls off.
Like this connection to the Christian guy who's in the Uganda thing. I mean, come on, dude. That's pretty weak.
No, it's not. It's directly funded. It's directly funded by that guy.
I'm saying that in general, like if this is the comparison to the other side of things and the Middle East and everything, it just doesn't weigh up for me.
Oh no, it doesn't weigh out. But
right.
I'm saying there is a direct analog.
Yeah. I'm not saying it's non-existent, that's for sure. But
yeah,
one of them
it's an exact direct analog.
I think Christianity's been a lot more adaptable. Science has been adaptable to everything. Like it's kind of come along in the world because it's such a thing where you're kind of designed to be going and saving people. You know, like this guy on Joe Rogan, he's like a Muslim, ex-Muslim, and he talked to like terrorists and stuff in Afghanistan. He said,
his name? I might know who that is. What is his name?
Oh, what the fuck was his name? Do you remember that guy that Sam Harris fights, Reza Aslan? This guy talked about Reza Aslan. So type in.
So it's a different guy from Reza Aslan or whatever the name is.
I'm about to find it and put it on the side too. Yeah, there it is. Ali Rizvi.
He was on Joe
Dude, this
Rogan?
guy.
Or is this
It's like
posting this, by the way.
I'll put it inside too. Dude, he
side tube.
Yeah, he has this point.
Link me the side tube.
Okay, let me try to find the exact clip. He has this point in it that is like it's chilling. Not to use a gay word, but it really is. Like it tells you exactly the way that they see terrorism and how it excuses killing innocent people, including children.
Yeah, no,
It's built
I'm
into
not
their
saying
religion.
I'm not saying that doesn't exist or it's not a legitimate threat or anything like that.
Right.
But it is worth pointing out that where do people who are Christian come from?
You back to the whole.
They come from countries that have traditionally fucked those places over.
Yeah, but not. That's not like a one-sided thing. Dude, the Moors.
It's been pretty one-sided.
No way, dude. The Moors. Italy was sacked. Venice was sacked, and they like just ran it like a mofo. They just fucking ran that place for like 100 years.
I'm not talking about 5 centuries ago. I'm talking about, in recent history, within a couple generations.
Well, I mean, dude, they fucking Iran and Iraq.
Even within a generation.
Iran and Iraq allied with Hitler. Pretty fucked up. Hang on, let me play this for you, Beck.
Yeah, I'm sure they did. They're not fans of the Jews. I'm not saying Iran and Iraq are.
He called them honorary. He called them honorary Aryans. Like what?
Yeah, because they are. They're technically Aryans. They're not honorary Aryans. They are Aryans.
I hear you.
Back in the 40s, Arabs were considered white.
No, you mean Persians.
Well,
like,
Persians specifically, yeah, but Persians were Iranians.
Right. Okay, yo, go to.
Or Iran was part of Persia at that point.
Go to Stream Communications. Devola, if you're still here too. I'm about to play this video. It's pretty interesting about the way that what this guy says from talking to some real like people who are in some insurgent groups. Let's see it.
Brings you back to the.
You have to link me. I don't see any Stream Communications.
2 channels above where your name is right now.
Oh yeah, there.
It's actually. Here we go. What's up, Devola? Yeah, just click on Stream Communications, Devola. Just click the channel, either first message or it's right at the top of the screen.
Community thing.
Watch this shit.
I think a lot of people, they want that identification,
and
they want that sense of identity and group identity that religion gives them. They need it so much that's why they take just attacks on their ideology personally.
Yeah, and they cheer when there's reprisal for these attacks, these verbal attacks on their. I mean, there's people that cheered when those guys were murdered.
Oh yeah, there are people that cheered all the time. Like in where I grew up, people used to celebrate it all the time. I mean, I'm talking like educated people. They wouldn't say it to, like within our own living room. We're sitting there, our educated uncles and aunts who had, been overseas and they'd studied overseas. They came back, when something like 9/11.
Right now, he's saying some basic shit, but give him a second to get into it.
And what happened, or any kind of attack against America would happen, even with civilians. Be completely supportive of it. But when they'd go out and they'd talk to their white friends and be like, yeah, this is terrible. We condemn it.
Wow.
There are root causes for it. We should understand what their legitimate grievances are and why they did it, but that doesn't justify the murder.
But alone in your house, they would.
Oh yeah,
just,
a lot of times. Yeah.
Really? Like, what would they say?
Fortunately, not particularly in my house, but extended family, friends. I mean, just on a daily basis, we're surrounded by it. I mean, when the Salman Rushdie fatwa came down, a lot of my extended family, a lot of my friends, teachers at school and everything, they all supported it.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Killing a guy who wrote a book.
Yeah.
And not even a good book.
Yeah, I've never been able to read it. Like I like Salman Rushdie and I've read some of his stuff, but Satanic Verses just couldn't. It's just really dense and I can't.
It's not interesting.
It just
yeah.
It takes a lot of focus, I think, to really get through it. You need to sit down and really.
Do you think that it has any merit to the idea that when a people with a, regardless of the religion, when people get more money, they stop being so
I watched
fundamentalist.
Maybe it's possible, but
Okay, well, yeah.
what
But
if
think about where is the Noah's Ark expedition, the creationist museum, Noah's Ark?
I think a lot of people
It's in the
want that
South,
identification, and they
right?
Where people don't have any money.
and group identity
Huh.
that religion gives them. They need
Now
it so
extrapolate that to the Middle East, where they really don't have any money.
ideology personally.
Yeah, and they cheer
Oh,
when there's
so
reprisal for these attacks.
what do you mean?
These verbal attacks on their. I mean, there's people.
You think
what I'm saying is,
people
that
are
Islam is.
Oh yeah, there are people that
What I'm
cheer
saying is that Islam is, of course,
where I grew up.
it's a fountain of bad ideas, but
educated people, they wouldn't say it to.
I don't think that's specifically the problem, because Christianity and Judaism is also a fountain of bad ideas. The difference
but
is,
I got
is
a
that
counter for
you
that.
get, you
though.
get enough money and you stop being so fundamentalist.
What about like countries like in Eastern Europe and like Bulgaria, all those kind of places, or like all these various places
Yeah,
where
all
they're
those
really, really
shitty
poor?
countries.
But it's not like that. It's not, and by the way, like they can't get a freaking government system into place because everyone wants to create their little group that says they're not doing it hardcore enough, or they're doing it too hardcore, or they're not being allies to the caliphate of this whatever. Like because the whole religion is determining. Well, because their religion determines their whole book of laws and their whole constitution of a country and all this kind of stuff. They're not even supposed to have countries technically. That's why they're building the caliphate. Muslim. So, because of that, and because that whole religion is also built on interpretation, just like
Right, but you're referencing countries that don't have any money.
I know, but other countries, like Christian ones, that do have money, when Jesus said, "Give to Caesar unto his own," or whatever, that means let your government take what you want. I'm more important in the afterlife.
He said, "Give unto Caesar that which is Caesar's."
Right, but in Islam, it's like you know what I'm saying. Islam is like you don't bow to any man or any border or anything. You're supposed to build this caliphate.
Saying Islam is more exclusive.
I'm saying that it also determines the laws and all that. Therefore, you get so many more like insurgent groups who are trying to interpret the book into a fucking country judicial and economic system and everything.
Jesus also did say, "I did not come to bring peace, but a sword."
But I'm saying that this is a
let's just say history turned out a different way, and Christians were in a shitty country. Do you not think that Christians should easily use their holy book, the Bible, the New Testament, or whatever the fuck, to justify terrorism? They absolutely could.
The book is telling them that they're supposed to like create a country based on these laws. The people are very proud of it. Islam is an entire way of life. It's a system of laws. It's a way to run your banks. Everything. Therefore,
the Bible
Bible's not that.
basically bragged about killing children.
Yeah, but you're just kind of pulling like, I know the Bible's bad too. I'm saying that there's a like fundamental part of the Islam, the fact that they want to make all the laws and everything based on that book, based on the government system that they designed.
Like, how do you reconcile that with something like a Dave Chappelle?
What?
Who's a Muslim?
He's like an American black dude.
Yeah, but he's a Muslim.
But okay, I got you. I know what you're saying.
Trying to, it's the same.
You're taking the money, saying the money can change them. However, Christians who are that poor aren't trying to. It's not like they have nothing to do, so they're trying to build a whole system of laws and build Christendom or something like that. Because it's not in the
No,
book.
because
They're not supposed to.
Christians are minorities in those countries.
Not in those countries, in like Eastern
not-
Europe
it's-
or something.
It's not a thing you can compare.
Like Eastern Europe or something. Because it is not in the book, tells them to create this caliphate and follow all these laws exactly how you're meant to. Because that's not in the Bible. They don't go and do that stuff
Yes, it
necessarily.
is. Of course it is.
No, it isn't. Like you said,
Yes,
give
there
unto
is.
Caesar.
There's commandments in the Bible.
Not
to
like
literally
Sharia
kill gay
law.
people.
Not
There's
like Sharia
commandments in the
law.
Bible to literally kill gay people.
Those are commandments that you can follow under almost any. First of all, that's not a commandment. That was not written on the 2 tablets. That's just a quote somewhere.
No, Jesus didn't show up and say, "All you need to care about is the 2 tablets."
Thou shalt kill all gays.
Thou shalt only care about what was written in the 10 Commandments. That's not what he said. That's not Christianity. You can't just say it's not a commandment.
The 10 Commandments.
Yeah, no. The 10 Commandments have very little to do with Christian doctrine or even Jewish doctrine.
Okay, let's just finish this clip really quick.
Well, you need to be interested in it. But it's
Yeah.
just bizarre because, I mean, it's not even specifically about Muhammad, right? I mean, the
Yeah, it's
satanic verses is...
It is kind of...
Say, hold on.
But it is about Muhammad's life.
Sort
The
of.
satanic verses were, I guess the way the Quran was supposedly revealed was that Muhammad got these revelations from above. And at one point he got these revelations that said that idolatry, certain elements of idolatry are okay. It was like these 3 idol gods and, okay, fine, we can respect that, or people that, follow them, they're okay. And then later on he's like, no, that was Satan talking to me, it wasn't God. So those were the satanic verses.
Right.
So they didn't end up being part of the Quran. And that's where Salman Rushdie got the idea. So it was based on an actual documented piece of sort of Islamic history. And he changed the name of Muhammad, and he had a lot of similar elements. It was symbolic of his life, but...
So because he changed the name, he thought he was going to be okay.
Yeah, I mean, he knew that it was a satire, like Animal Farm.
Mhm.
Just, they use animals to represent, like, real people.
Right.
So...
Skip ahead a little bit. I don't think this is going to have the part that I wanted to show that was really kind of like chilling.
That is worth noting.
Okay.
That Muslims worldwide
Mhm.
do
I watched a doc.
they are a threat to free speech worldwide.
Mhm. Absolutely.
However,
Christians can be
you
too.
know, because there aren't any Christian fatwas. So I'm not gonna
separate,
I'm willing to be fair here about this. But at the same time,
you've got Salafi Sunnis.
my president is sitting here telling me to hate these people.
You have 4 major schools within this.
All right.
No, for real, dude.
I got you.
And well, okay, the right wing rather is telling me to hate these people.
And Hanafi.
I grew up with a lot of these people.
4 different schools.
I get that.
I grew up next to the biggest Muslim enclave in North America.
Female genital mutilation.
We haven't had a single terrorist attack in Michigan.
So these are
I never had a single problem with any of these people. They were very nice dudes.
Mandatory. So
never a single
and
issue
a lot of
that I had with them.
Southeast Asian countries. Indonesia, where Reza Aslan says that
it's like I don't buy that I have to hate these people.
No, come on. I don't want you to hate them. I'm not trying to preach you to hate them. Hating some like group of people who you just like it's an exhausting and pointless task. Hating.
Well,
strong.
Your friends would disagree with that.
I don't know if they would. I don't think they actually actively sit and hate them.
Your white nationalist friends would definitely disagree with that.
Who? Like Zanhead or
the ones that generally populate the stream.
I don't think this is the right clip. Let me just skim through. I just got this one part. It's really fascinating.
So he did this.
Let me get through it.
He had
fictional characters because he didn't mention.
I mean, I think that he knew that there would be some backlash. I didn't think at that time, but he does tend to do all the talk shows and everything. I mean, he was really under hiding.
I wonder what it's like if he does like the Bill Maher show. I wonder what kind of
does. Does
Yeah,
for them, female genital mutilation is mandatory.
Mandatory.
So, in Indonesia and in a lot of Southeast Asian countries, you know, Indonesia, where Reza Aslan says that women are 100% equal to men, I always say, yeah, when it comes to circumcision rates, they are. Because more than 80% of men and women there are circumcised.
This is gonna be a little bit annoying, the skipping, but after this, we don't have to watch any more of this guy's interview.
So,
well, circumcision from
really liberal ones within each sect. There's really conservative.
Yeah, but pause it, because that is
just
what
to give
known
you an
as genital mutilation.
Oh yeah, you're not gonna get any arguments from me.
That is supremely fucked, and that's unique to Islam.
Yeah.
And no, I would definitely say that Islam is the worst of the Abrahamic religions by far. But
yeah,
you know, also, you know, like I said, I mean, I lived with these people. They were not, you know, nobody was fucking with me. They
right.
I don't understand this paranoia.
Mm-hmm. Somebody said they all need to talk. Well, the problem is, like, they've been talking for fucking, like, how many years? Like 1,600 years it's been around? Some crazy amount of years. Hang on, let me find this one part so I don't have to worry about this fucking clip anymore.
Theocracy.
If you can towards you, it moves around a lot.
Okay, cool.
But it's weird. These
Iranian theocracy. The Saudis are
each other that they're willing to go to war. So it's like Baptists going after Catholics.
Yeah.
How about refugees?
And there is an element of labeling.
What do you think about that? Are we still on the go? Is anybody still watching the stream, or are we just talking?
I want to just talk, but I want to get this one part out of the way because I've been looking for it now for a while. And it's just annoying.
Is anybody actually watching?
Yeah, there's 41 people.
This is a
on
hard thing to understand.
Oh shit!
From what I read, I don't think he had any idea.
And in 35 minutes, clickbait's coming on.
Between Shias and
oh fuck! I should change the title.
He probably had no idea that was going to go down. That there was going to be some sort of a brutal civil war.
This is about it. This is it.
I mean, no one in this country had any idea. Competing factions.
After that, he was running around over all kinds of different countries until he finally got refugee status in the U.S. and he came here recently, and he's full of stories about Iraq and how complicated it is.
Sure, this is it right here.
Some of the other people, I've talked to, they say that the reason that Saddam Hussein, was so effective is because he ruled with an iron fist and he kept all of these sort of religious rivalries under control, and he prevented anybody he was fairly like pro-secular. A lot of these dictatorships they're secular, and they just didn't. In the moment you took that fist away, everything just went nuts.
Which countries are you talking about?
Yeah, that's what it seems like from our point of view. From
talking about like insurgent groups that come up in all these countries, and why they come up.
Yeah, but which countries is specifically talking?
He was talking about a specific guy, one single guy who had spent time in multiple countries. Then he got to U.S. and he got refugee status.
Americans were standing back going, wait, what's going on? Like they're competing again. They're fighting with each other. Like
2 minutes and
sections
he's gonna get to it.
No one knew that there were rival factions of Islam. This guy Reza, polarizing figure, an interesting historian of what incorrect about certain things, but that he's full of shit.
Yeah.
That's sort of Sam Harris's take on him. Is that he's just
clickbait's here. Hey, yo, clickbait, what's up, dude?
I agree with Sam.
Okay, let us find this clip.
What is his?
Oh, Davo, what's up, dude?
Because my friend Duncan is enamored by him.
Dude, Davo, you want to come on the stream? Chill out. I'm cool to chill out to the Jim Ram stuff. Yeah. What's his name said? Devola. All right, clickbait. Just give me like 5.
Yeah, man, I'm just chilling.
All right, cool. Give me like 5 minutes to I don't know, just like get coffee or something.
What's Dave talking about? Why would Bick be schooling me? Hi, Bick. I'm not
Oh
involved.
my
in
god,
this.
big schooling Devola.
Dude, I'm always a proponent of Devil.
Do we want to fake a argument where you school me for Dave?
Man, we're so close, guys. We're so close.
Certainly never scold you.
Tiff, give me
My
something
friend
in the
Duncan
last
read
argument.
his book on Jesus, and he said it's an absolutely fascinating
Vic
book.
said I
It's
wouldn't
also
be
really
able to
guys,
find
very
this clip.
interesting. But then I talked to Sam about it, and Sam said that he had some really dishonest dealings with him, some conversations with him.
Had some exchanges with him on Twitter and so on, and he's sort of like a very classic apologist.
Pause it, Brian,
It's
Brian,
just
before,
a great
before
way to
it
shut
gets
down a
flooded,
conversation.
I seriously want to ask you this.
The book is
Yeah.
Rorschach tests.
Are
It's
you
like ink blots.
Are you
So you can
seriously?
interpret, and these words don't mean anything.
Let me.
And
Okay, if you're not gonna pause it, I'll
and I was
pause
just
it.
thinking about the implications.
Are
And
you
I wrote this
seriously
for the Richard Dawkins website.
against?
Is
I'll just read it.
you know. So
Yeah.
to me, that
are you
actually
seriously
sounds- that's a
against
much worse
having any war refugees come in this country because they're Muslim?
Just let me get done with this shit, dude. Just let me do that. And I will answer all day long. I'm so close right now.
worse position to have. It's
We're almost
a much
there.
More bigoted position to have, and to neglect obvious.
Dude, I'm about to
causes,
wait. Hold on.
No, don't leave.
We talk about root causes.
No,
Don't
wait,
leave.
wait. I actually have a real question. Can you get like seriously drunk and do
They said what the
kratom
cause was. We should
safely?
believe them. But
Oh, how serious is seriously drunk? But yeah, you can.
Like I drank like a
doing it
fifth
for
of rum
God, they're
over
doing it for
more
the
than that actually.
But when we
Fifth of vodka. Dare me to drive.
Fifth of rum.
It has to be something.
Oh, yeah, I think you'll
It's
be
the
all right.
only thing that we don't believe.
Hold on.
You know, religion.
Right here, right here.
You drink a fifth, it's okay.
They can actually trigger people to act on them.
How do you? That's almost impossible to fix.
It's a tough thing to fix.
'Cause,
And I
your boy sent
there's
me
this
some,
one after that.
red Borneo.
You know about the attack
Yeah.
on the school in Pakistan.
Yo, this is it right here. If you keep talking though, I might have to mute it for the stream.
And
But
they
if
just
not,
went and
listen to this, dude. This is it.
Just went in.
This is an amazing
Tough thing to
thing
fix.
It's
that
almost impossible
shows you that this shit's not getting fixed anytime soon.
to fix.
It's a tough thing to fix. And I there's this one after that.
All right, I'm gonna
you
take
know
some
about the
kratom, and we're gonna
attack
get
on the
ready to
school
get
in Pakistan,
clickbait in here.
Yeah.
People and 132 kids, and they just went and there were like
Get 'em,
7
Tim.
suicide bombers that just went in and they just took out all those kids in the age 12 to 14. So that shook up the world. And after that, I was talking online to this Taliban sympathizer. I don't know if he was a member of the Taliban, but he was definitely a sympathizer. And you know, he told me something that just completely, like, it was actually really chilling. And he said, he's like, you know, it's not that I believe in an afterlife. I know there's an afterlife. He's like, we don't think of death as an end. You know, death is like, this is just a human concept, something people who believe in materialism believe. We know that death is not an end. And then he pointed out the Urdu word, which is the language from Pakistan for death, which is intiqal. And intiqal actually means transition. It doesn't mean end. You know, it doesn't mean death as we know it. So he said even the word for death, intiqal, means transition. It means you're moving on to another world. And then he went into more detail. He's like, these kids, like, you know, if kids have had the chance to sin, there's a higher chance of them going to hell. But if they're young and innocent, then they're immediately going to go to heaven. So we don't think that we're killing these kids and we're ending their lives. We think that we're actually sending them to a place where they're going to be protected from their evil infidel parents.
Oh fuck!
And they're not
Christ.
innocent. And then he
So
said
yeah,
that,
dude, they think they're sending the innocents to heaven.
There was some really important
faster.
You know, what he said that gives us insight
Yeah,
into
no,
how they
I'm
think.
It's never
and
gonna
he
get
said the reason
fixed.
that we blow ourselves up is like, you know, we're killing ourselves. If death was such a bad thing, we wouldn't do it ourselves. But we know where we're going, and we know where we're taking the kids as well. So we just don't think of it in the way that you do. And most Muslims, you know, and he was talking about all the Muslims condemning it. He's like, most Muslims, their faith isn't as pure. If they really believed that there was a heaven, they were doing the right thing, they were going to get there, they wouldn't be mourning this. They would be celebrating it. He's like, but they are of poor faith, and you know, we're of the right faith. And I was, you know, when you, so that's the mindset that you're going up against, and how do you fight it?
You fight it like that scene from Aliens, where he says you gotta pull out and nuke it from orbit.
So
ever see that scene where Bill
this
Paxton?
is different from what you were saying about the drones.
Game over, man. Yeah, it seems like we need to nuke the entire world. Start fresh with new monkeys.
No,
people are just so fucked. The fact that a human being in 2015 can literally operate and think that way.
No, it was
so
absolutely
confusing.
amazing. But it's important.
Once we get
I was watching this movie and was it a TV show? And someone said
once we get that was it. Once we get clickbait in here, I don't think the stream can hear me right now. But once we get clickbait in here, they can probably hear you. Let's do like 5 minutes. Wait a second, and then start a new video. I gotta find out how long he's down to do this for.
I like this video. This is an excellent video.
Yeah, I'll get you the link. Hang on 1 sec. Oh, never mind. The stream can hear me right now. Hold on.
I especially like talking about religion.
Yeah, I kind of do too. It's just dense topic, and I don't even get that worked up over it anymore.
I'm way too high for this.
Maybe like freshman dorm room, I might get like more worked up, but not anymore. Okay,
I can easily get worked up about it, but it's but it's also it's tying up into the, like, when people say like, oh, Islam's not a race, so it's not racist. Of course it is. Shut up. You know what I mean? Like that's not what they're doing.
All right.
When they're being racist against Muslims, like, we know what they're doing. It's Arab hating bullshit. It's a very easy thing to do and then excuse yourself for doing.
Tiff, someone in the chat is asking you to drop a hot bars and freestyle rap.
Hot bars?
Yeah, can you just drop some hot bars, please, Tiff?
Hot bars. Might as well go to Mars.
Mad raps.
I'm slaying Bick. He's got scars. I'm driving off in his mom's car. And I'm going to the bar. Okay, hold on. I gotta get where's clickbait?
Very good. That was great, Teft. That was some hot bars.
That was so bad.
It was.
Stop, Jimmy.
I mean,
We're
it
gonna
came up
watch.
with 3 raps. That was pretty good. 3 rhymes.
Yeah.
And you guys, everyone can say any like opinions they have about everything. But dude, I'm not getting fucking caught up in this one because I don't think this one has an end built into it. There's no end designed into this. There's nothing to end it. They've all lost like 7 different channels. Like, dude, fucking. I just like doing like other topics too. All right. You don't have permission.
What are you doing?
I got you, dude.
I'm just here for the gym and M.
Dude,
Did he even join
what I'm
yet?
saying, before you even do it, here's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that Islam is not the worst of all the religion. Of course it is. But I don't like the idea that I'm supposed to hate people. And I'm especially not fond of the idea that we shouldn't take in vulnerable people from war zones because that they're different from me. I think it's a very I think it's stupid. I think it's wrong, and I don't know. Maybe I believe in people too much. Maybe I believe in people more than I should.
Oh, Bick, aren't you? You're a sweet boy.
Yeah, you're a nice boy, Bick.
What Where
I
is
don't care what
he?
everyone says about you.
Clickbait.
My
You
one
just
issue is you saying that Islam is the worst religion. It's clearly the Hare Krishnas with those obnoxious little bells they bing. And, like they're always like
Okay.
singing
Yeah,
in the street.
I forgot about that.
let's get
It's obnoxious.
All right, let's get clickbait and you
I've
clickbait.
actually
Join the
never seen
lobby, dude. Join the
Yeah,
lobby.
come on, clickbait. Get involved.
And I want to see how long will he be able to do this for, and then
Get involved. Get away.
quick new video file. No countdown. We'll do a fucking like 3-minute countdown so everyone can kind of get the notification, and then we'll just go.
Word.
See you in the lobby yet? Triple Crown. There he is. I might just move this fucking whole live streaming
Hello.
section up. Hey, what's up, dude?
What's going on? Sorry about that.
No, it's all right. So
yeah,
how
I figured,
long? How long do you?
I put a video down in the link or in one of your rooms there. I can post it in this one. I figure we play that one and then kind of like, you know, because that's got a lot of meat in it. I covered a lot of shit in it.
Dude, I want to do like 2 hours.
Oh boy. Well, I've got enough videos there. I could probably commit like about 45 minutes an hour. But there's plenty of video.
Well, all right, we'll do that, but it'll be part 1.
Of course we will.
Dude, because we need to go. I need to go back to fucking the day me and Saiyan said, "All right, we're not fighting anymore. Fuck this. Let's just do our thing," and then figure out what probably started in the spring. That was in like February, March. So then it's all probably started in the spring. So what happened? Summer 2018. What happened between these 3 guys?
So real early on. So remember, Sans didn't have the
hold on
Discord
now.
or anything. Yeah.
Hold on. Because I'm going to do a new video URL. New video file starts.
Yeah, restart the stream. Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah. Brand new clickable
Let me post
link.
that video real quick in this one too. 1 second.
What should I call you? The master curator. How about that?
I'll take that.
That's nice.
Big shoes to fill.
Fancy name. What's up, Click? By the way, I'm Devol. I'm not sure if we've talked before, but I'm a fan of your videos, man.
Oh, thanks, brother. Appreciate
Devol,
that. I've seen
Devol,
your name.
Did you watch that wrestling stream, Matt?
Because, do you mind? I'm meeting someone. Just give me 2 seconds. What were you saying, Click?
So I've seen your name a lot, but I think you're in my Discord, but you're probably on a million Discords, so I haven't really seen you post anything in there or anything.
Yeah, I
It's
get
kind of
added to a
Bonnie's
ton and
Discord.
barely post. I'm in and out. I live down in Australia, so I kind of come in and out. But I mainly circle around whatever Tiff's doing.
All right, guys. So
Why do I feel like Melbourne? Is it Melbourne?
okay, guys. So I'm gonna be right back. You might as well just stay on this video link if you want. Just leave it open, throw another tab up, whatever you gotta do. Because as soon as that 5-minute video sort of like buffer zone is done, let's say like 11:46 p.m. Eastern, we're going. Pressing live. And I'm going to start the countdown like a couple minutes before that. So when this thing goes live, it'll already be down to like 3-minute countdown. So I'll see you guys. Eastwood, peace out, dude. Triple Crown, you're the best. Zanhead, thanks for coming on tonight. It was a lot of fun. YGM, man. Don, thanks, dude, for the love and support. And I like your show too, bro. Fucking Jimmer, B-ball fan. That could be a meme account. Feral Monkey, what's up, dude? Davo. James M. Oh, James M, man. How have you been? Haha. Riff Raff. Alright, guys. See you soon.